Derac, this is not the beach. This is not the pool. This is not the toy hauler. This is Beach Walk, St. John's, Florida. We got a special guest. Derac and I did a field trip for episode 20 today. Derac, we got to talk about motocross was far, far out west, and Derac and Trey are in the far northeast of Florida. Because we have a special guest today, local up-and-coming motocross, supercross racer. Derac, welcome to the conference room.
It's a pleasure being here. Welcome, Rylan Munson, professional supercross, pro motocross rider. Tell us about Rylan Munson.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I'm excited to be here. Not really much to say. I just love racing my dirt bike, honestly. I moved down here from Colorado a couple years ago solely for racing. So in that time, I've made it to Loretta's, got my pro supercross license, my pro motocross license. So really achieving my goals heavily now. Just want to, keep getting better results and keep getting better.
Where in Colorado?
I'm from Black Forest, Colorado,
Okay.
So right outside of Colorado Springs.
How close is that to the Eli Tomac compound?
Cortez, it's pretty far from Cortez.
Okay.
He's more towards New Mexico, and I'm more central.
Okay.
I'm right at the base of Pikes Peak. So.
Oh, you ever gone up Pikes Peak?
Yep, one time with my dad.
Okay.
Lived there for 18 years and only went up there once.
Really?
But yeah.
Very good. And I got another question. How did you go about getting your supercross license? What was the task for you? Because that has shifted and changed over the years.
Yeah, I actually got really lucky. I'm so glad I did it the year that I did it, because now it seems like chaos. I literally don't even try to know how to do it because it's so confusing. But I did it last year. Yeah. So I got my license last year, and I did. You had to go to, I guess you could consider them area qualifiers. So I went to Texas, and that qualified me for Dallas Supercross. And then I went to, I went to WW Ranch.
Okay.
And that qualified me for Atlanta. And then the turnout wasn't too good the year that I did it. So they were kind of taking dudes in, even if you weren't in the region. So unfortunately I had a bike issue and I couldn't go to Dallas. So I missed that one. And so I went to Atlanta, got 2 points there, so I needed 2 more, so I made the trip up to Foxborough. They let me race that one. It's because I couldn't do Dallas, they just transferred the sign up. So after that, I had qualified in Foxborough, and so I made the trip all the way from Florida to Salt Lake to do the finals. And so that was amazing, and had all my points and got my license. So
Awesome.
It's a heck of a journey now, and I'm not sure how they're, like you said, you're glad you did it when you did, but it is crazy. I've heard some interesting stories through the amateur stuff about guys for Supercross are running on motocross tracks, and it's like, wait a second, we're trying to get them ready for Supercross, and we're running on motocross tracks. It's almost, let's just go back to the arena cross days and let them go at it. And I don't think anything's the same except this Futures program now, where they're actually running on the Supercross track.
Yeah. Well, let's back it up a few steps. And where did this all derive from? Like as a kid?
yeah.
Bring us from your childhood up.
Yeah, so I'm the youngest of my brother and sister by a lot. My brother's 9 years older than me, and then my sister's 8. So when I was born, they raced. My brother, dad, and sister all raced. So I was just kind of born at the track, always at the track racing. I didn't race. I haven't raced my whole life. I shouldn't say that, because there was a span of time I played football, just as a typical kid, and then I still raced while playing football and stuff. And then after that, I got hurt racing. I broke my leg, and in that time, I knew this was kind of what I wanted to do. So I got homeschooled. While I was hurt, and I actually did all 4 years of high school in 3 months. So I graduated.
No
I've been
way.
graduated since I was like 15 years old.
That's awesome.
Wait, you did 4 years of school in 3 months?
Yeah, I was like, I can sit here and watch Netflix, or I can do my school, and then when I'm not hurt, I can put all my effort into riding. So that's what I did. And it was a self-paced program, so I just like went as fast as
Matt, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
That's
I spent years and years in school for no reason.
So you finished your doctorate degree in now on your free time when you're not training?
Yeah, I did do a little bit of college. I'm pretty interested in like nutrition and stuff like that.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I got into that a little bit before I had moved down here. But yeah, I guess kind of going back, I went to public school all the way through 8th grade and then got homeschooled out when I got hurt, like I was saying. And after that, we just started racing a lot. And I never really got to go to many big amateur nationals. I just wasn't really fast enough. I never could qualify. I was just never really good enough. But I kind of started showing some speed, and then I got the opportunity. I actually just got a text one day to come down here to Florida. So I bought my own plane ticket, bought my own, rented my own car. Cost me like $80 extra a day because I was like 16 or 17 years old.
I'm surprised they actually let you
Yeah,
take it off
usually
the
you're 25,
Yeah.
you're not getting one.
Yeah, so I was able to, just
That's
cost me a fortune.
Yeah.
And so I flew down here, literally landed, the next day went and rode, met the guy that I was going to move down here with, and then the next day flew back out. So it was like in and out type thing. I was working for my dad at this point, and then I flew home and I told him what I wanted to do, and packed up my stuff, and never knew that I was never going back, but moved down here, and it worked out good, and I've just been down here ever since.
So how many years has that been so far?
So I moved, COVID just throws me off.
Yeah.
I moved at the end of 2020.
Okay.
So it's been like 3 years?
Yeah.
Coming up on 3 years? Yeah.
We moved mid 2020, so we're about the same
Yeah.
same time frame. And it was a miserable move during all that.
Yeah.
BS. Like we were right in the thick of it when we moved, and it was miserable.
Yeah, so mine was easy. Like Colorado was kind of terrible, and Florida was awesome.
That's
So
how it was for us. PA was like, I gotta watch what I say, but it was not pretty.
Yeah.
And then we get down here, and it's like a breath of fresh air again.
Yeah. Yeah, it honestly was, it was the best thing I've ever done in a lot more senses than just racing. I mean, that was the whole reason I moved down here, but just in life in general, I feel like I was able to grow as a person, being on my own at 18 years old.
I agree.
I've been on my own since then, so it's just been awesome.
So you traveled down here. Were you living in a van? Were you living at the track? How did that start? Like now you've got a nice place you're living in, and
Yeah.
and so you've changed the way you live now.
Right.
I'm guessing you get to use the wonderful gym that's here.
Yeah.
So you don't have to pay for a gym membership. You've got that going for you. You're in your own nutrition. So when you first got down here, were you roughing it, or did you have a place already set up?
No, and before I even go into that, I definitely got to say, like, when I say I've been living on my own, I got to give it all to my dad and my brother, because like without them, they've supported me financially just so much with the family business back home. So just wanted to reiterate that.
There is nothing wrong with that. It takes that to do this.
Absolutely, yeah. But I think before I go into that, a lot of people just think like, I don't know, they just think that I can't, people in our sport are just money grab, but it takes help to do.
It takes a team to do what we do.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no sole proprietor in any part of this.
Right.
It's impossible that way.
Yeah.
And you do see like a lot of the privateers that are living out of their vans, living in tents. I mean, there's still support there somewhere.
Yeah.
But it shows the passion for the sport as well.
Right. But yeah, so to get back and answer your question, no, I've never really had to rough it, and I'm very, very grateful for that. I got super, super lucky, and I'm very grateful for the guy that I moved down here with. Beautiful home, pool, track at the house, barn, everything. It was actually supposed to be a training facility and got shut down. So had a full-blown supercross track, but had to tear it all down. Don't really want to go in. Yeah, don't want to go into it too much because I'm not sure what I'm allowed to share.
Yeah.
But was a sick turn track, super sick, and he put a lot into it for me. It was supposed to be a training facility, like I said, but then I ended up being the sole guy there. I was the only one. It was just me and him, so that was the bachelor pad, and just trained and rode, and that was it. But no, and then I went from there. He ended up going through some stuff and had to sell the place, and I got really lucky. Thankfully, my girlfriend let me move in with her, and I've just been very lucky. We've been able to afford, and I've had the help to afford, a nice place everywhere. Always had a gym to work out at. Always just I save my money and spend my money to make sure I have a nice hotel when I go to a race, or you know what I mean. I'll wear the same clothes so that I can afford a hotel. I won't buy shorts so I can get a hotel or something.
Yeah.
Just that kind of stuff's important to me. So
It makes sense. And let's talk about. We've kind of gone through the chronological life of getting here. What does racing now look like for you? What are you currently racing? The different events you're doing, and I also want to get into the training side of not your secret sauce, but what does a day in the life of a motocross, supercross racer look like?
Yeah, so the racing that I'm doing, I did almost all the East Coast Supercross this year. I think I missed Dallas and I missed New Jersey. I was a little bit off the pace, so those were two that were the Triple Crown, or East-West Shootout and Triple Crown, and they were just going to be kind of tough to get in for me. So that's what I did there. And then as soon as Salt Lake was over, I actually stayed in Colorado for that whole time, getting myself back used to the altitude. For Colorado, the national. So I did that, and then it was all right. And then I had planned on kind of doing Budds Creek and Unadilla later this year. I got really sick after Colorado, so that kind of hosed me. I was down for a while. Not too sure what happened. I was driving home, roughing it kind of like you're talking a little bit that time, sleeping in my van. And it hit me. I was coming out of both ends, so I had to, it was 11 o'clock. There was some church group in the town I was in, so there were no hotel rooms. I had to find something. It was miserable. So I took like a month off over the summer. Went to sign up for Budds Creek and Unadilla, and they're full. So I'm not doing either of those. So I kind of just decided that I'm shifting towards just getting ready for 2024 Supercross now. And I'm just racing whatever I can find. I'm going to do money races. I'm a racer. I love racing. I don't care if it's a fair race. If I can get a gate drop with fast dudes, I'm not too good for that. So.
Well, you have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
And you're not afraid to travel, apparently.
Yeah.
So some of these fair races up in the Midwest out there, they're long drives, but kind of get a vacation mixed in on the way up, and
So I agree with you, but she's got to work. So yeah, she's got a full-time job. She's got her own life she's building, so it doesn't really work for her to take all the time off in the world for racing. She prioritizes Supercross. She loves that, but I totally get not wanting to take a week off for a couple fair races.
Yeah, it sounds like a Rylan Munson summer shindig on your own. Take some fly fishing rods and off you go.
Yeah. Hey, I've thought about it, and I've thought about. Colorado's not too far from Missouri, where all these are at, and I've got one of my best friends lives in Missouri. So I've thought about going and doing these racing, line up. Like there's some fast guys, Michael Hicks, and those guys are out there. So I've thought about it, good money and stuff, and there's like I was saying. So racing wise, there's I kind of look for the pro-ams because they have to pay a certain amount no matter how many dudes show up. So if I was the only dude, you make all that money. Chillytown up in Ohio, they've got one coming up in September that I'm going to go to. They just had one recently, but I wasn't able to go to that one. But yeah, so I'm just kind of searching for the purse races. That's kind of what all the privateers do. You just search for the purse races and the money races and do the local stuff. And
is there a network for that? Because that's something I'm completely naive on. I follow I follow every form of racing there is, and I understand like amateur car racing. There's a book and there's a schedule, and you can go race in different regions. How does it work for pro motocross guy on the summer that may not be doing the nationals? Is there a list of races?
Well, if there is, somebody's got to let me know, because I spend hours just on my phone looking on Facebook for the tracks and looking on the internet, just anywhere I can find just tracks and what's listed. Because there is on the AMA's website a Pro-Am schedule. So you can find all the Pro-Am and they're all listed in order. There's really not a whole lot of them and they're all spread out. So yeah, but I mean, you can find, like, you can look up North Carolina Motocross Series, Louisiana, Alabama. I just go through all the different series and try to find, like, oh, they're doing 200% payback, 6 hours. Like, I'll make the trip, you know, if it's like 100% payback, not really worth it because you're the only dude, you're not going to make any money. So it's kind of like, I don't like it a whole lot that I have to base it off of the money, you know, because I just love racing so much.
It's still your job, though.
But yeah, I have to pay my bills and live, and that's just how life is. So yeah.
And why do the privateers keep these so private? Because I was listening to a podcast the other day, and the guy was interviewing a privateer, and he was talking about the fair races. He's like, oh yeah, I hit those. Well, where are you going? He goes, I can't tell you that. And he's like, they won't say it. He's not the only one I've ever heard that won't kind of spill the beans where they are.
Is it just like more the, well, I don't want a whole bunch of competition, I want to win it?
I guess so.
I think that's going to be a confidence thing. I don't think that guy's going to be very confident in himself.
Fast enough.
Yeah, he's not going to be confident, and I don't want to call him out. I don't know who it is.
I can't remember the name either.
Yeah, I mean, you can't beat the best, or you can't be the best until you beat the best. So I mean, why? But one thing I will say is, being a privateer, is it's hard when you're lining up on the gate and you have to make that money.
Yeah.
Like, it's not really an option. If you don't, well, you got to go find a side job to pay your bills. I mean, it's a bummer sometimes, you know, if you fall, or that's why you kind of like, if guys don't show up, it's kind of a relief because you know you're getting paid, I guess.
So we actually talk a lot about this on the podcast. Like I told you before, we focus a lot on the business side of it. So for you, this is a job. This isn't, you love to race, we all love to race. Like, I love to race, Trey loves to race, a different style of racing, my kids love to race, but in your aspect of it, it is a job. Like, you have got to make that money. And we talk about the privateer life a lot on here because we're so intrigued by the business side of it that most people don't get to see the aspect of what happens if you do fall. What happens if you break a leg at Daytona Supercross? Then what, you know?
Yep.
So, you know, shed a little light on that. Like, what it's like to live the life of racing as a job, and not like from a fan's eyeballs. You know, it's great.
Yeah.
It's all racing. You know, these guys are all millionaires.
Yeah.
You know, that's not the case.
Yeah.
And you know that, we know that, but shed a little light on what it's like to be a racer for a living.
Yeah, well, I would say, like, what, maybe 6 dudes are millionaires.
Exactly.
Racing.
And people don't know that.
Yeah. I mean, Ty Masterpool's probably making, you know, decent money, I would imagine, from sponsors and stuff, but from pro motocross, I mean, he's making hardly anything really to pay to go. But
Yeah, what's the Cowie contingency right now for being the top Cowie on a weekend? I mean, I know Anderson beat him this weekend, but there's been times when he's been the top Cowie.
yeah.
He's not getting anything from Cowie except contingency,
Right.
but that's got to at least pay something, right?
Yeah, so Cowie contingency, and that's actually a big reason why there are so many Cowies out there, is they have the best contingency program, really. I believe, no, I don't think they're the only ones, but they pay the best just to make it in. Mm-hmm. Like, if you just top 40, like, you're getting paid contingency money. But yeah, I mean, it's like, I can sit here and say the numbers, and somebody listening can think, oh, that's a decent amount of money for a day of racing. But I mean, it's not a day of racing. You gotta travel. You got there's just so much.
Look at everything that goes into it. We say this all the time. Yeah, sure, you can make so and so per race, but let's subtract the fuel, let's subtract the hotel, let's subtract the bike, the maintenance, because that bike's not going there prepared without putting some kind of money into it. It's so, I don't know how to wrap anybody's head around it. I mean, you're going to be the best insight to how you juggle all that and put those numbers into play.
Yeah, so that's, I guess, yeah, to get back and answer your question, a simple answer is it's full-time, non-stop. You know, you got to do things kind of, I don't want to say as cheap as you can, but I mean, you can't just do 3 1-hour motos a day like the factory dudes can, because we don't have unlimited supply of chains and sprockets. All of that stuff just adds up and costs money, and I've learned that a lot because I went to a race and I think it was the first time I had ever made this much, and it was like $860 or something, and I was pumped, super pumped. My dad was pumped, we were all pumped, and then, you know, I'm driving home and talking to my dad on the phone. He wasn't able to make it to that one, and he was just like, you know, I'm proud of you, and that's a really good amount, but like, you know, with everything that he helped pay for me to do that, I made a good amount that weekend. Had I had to pay for that all myself, I was in the hole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it just, like, right back to the beginning, it takes an army, it takes help, it takes, you know, a team. And I don't know, it's just full time, you know, by the time you ride and everything, it's training and eating, you know, sleeping, it's just everything comes into it. So, yeah, I mean, it's just budgeting is huge for me. You just got to really watch what you buy. Clothes are the least of my priorities. As long as I have something to put on in the morning, that's all I really care about.
You got to get those sponsor shirts so that you can just wear those every day.
Yeah, so I'm super grateful for the sponsors that I do have, because like the feed helps me out a ton. I've got a lot of people that really help me out with stuff. Still working on the clothing one. And I'm not I'm not the type of guy that just wants to like take a sponsor, like, oh, if I can get it, I'm going to take it. Like, I want to be genuine to what I actually use and enjoy and like. So, but yeah, I mean, it's just a lot being a privateer for sure.
So take us through some of you're a privateer. Are you driving to the races or are you flying to the races?
Driving.
You're driving. So you're taking your own, do you take a mechanic or are you your own mechanic?
My own mechanic.
Okay. So now.
Well, at most of them. Sometimes I'm able to have a friend come in, or my brothers help me out. My dad's came to a few, so I do have some people, but for the most part, I'm just my own. It's just me and my girlfriend at the Supercrosses, and that's about it.
And you're driving to all of them?
Yep.
Okay. So we got that covered. Food. You're on the road. It's tough. It's expensive to eat out. And I'm looking at you, apparently your diet is important for you. My diet's important to me too, but in a different aspect. So that gets expensive. Do you take your own food, make your own food, or do you go out to eat?
I don't go out to eat. Never. I take all my own food. I don't eat out ever on the road. I'll prep my own food before, and then I'll get a hotel. Like, I'll save up so I can afford the hotels with the kitchen, so I can make my own food there. I try to find like a Publix. I love Publix, or just any grocery store. You know, when you're up in the north, just like find a Walmart or something, and I buy my stuff there, because I can't afford to eat out all the time. I mean, it's super expensive nowadays to go eat out. Yeah. Me and my girlfriend, we went to lunch the other day, and it's like $40, and I'm like, man, that's like a 2 days worth of food. Like, I can go to the store and spend $40, and that can last me 2 days or so for one meal. Yeah. That's a lot of money. So yeah, that's what that looks like. So
you were talking about how your dad helped you with the expenses, and that money you made was a good chunk of change. For a privateer racer, is there a thought process of, if I can have this part of my program covered, yes, I can start making some money? Because like you made that $860, and if someone's covering the entry fees, cool, I don't have to pay for that. If someone's covering the fuel, I don't have to pay for that. Is that what you're looking for when you're trying to work on sponsorships? Or are you just like, I'll take whatever I can get at this point? How are you structuring that program?
Yeah, it's at first you're kind of looking for for parts of your program to be covered, but then it kind of gets to a point where you're just kind of looking for help financially, money, and then you can do what you need to do. Some people are only willing to cover that stuff so they know where the money's going, and they know you're not just blowing it. But realistically, you know, I do have, like, you know, you have real life other bills, like, that have nothing to do with racing, that have to be covered as well. So if you're racing for free, everything's covered, parts, gas, everything's covered, and then you don't make money, you still have to have a job to pay your rent and your van. And it's never ending. And that's one thing that I've learned, and is that it's never ending. And then the more help you get, it's like it just still feels like things just pop up here and there, and everything pops up. And you know, I'm not complaining. And one thing I've learned massively is that no matter what, like, if you just keep your head down and you keep working, things work out. Like, it just always works out. And you know, you just be a good person, work hard, and comes around. You know, if you get in a bind, I mean, I'm super grateful that I have my dad to help if I were to get into a real bad bind, but pretty pumped that I haven't got to that point yet. So
that's awesome. And it's great to hear this side of it, because, like I said, nobody gets to hear it. Even in the amateur racing like side, for our part, like, my kid's 5 years old. You trained him a little bit while we were at PAX, and it's kind of like the same thing. Like, we're not at that level yet, and he wants to be. So that's what we work towards. But like, when we look for sponsors, and we have some sponsors, but we strive to look for people. Like, I've turned a lot of sponsorships down, and we only work with people that, like, I can back their products, or I can say that I'm willing to promote them. Is it like that for you too? Will you only work with people that you could actually back their company, or do you just take what you can get right now?
no, yeah, I do, because I do only work with people that I can back their company, because I really don't need a bunch of free product.
Correct.
Like, from random companies and stuff. Like I'll only take sponsors that I can back in, like I had a sock company sponsor me, and like, I'm not joking when I post about how amazing they were. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not just doing that for the money they paid me. Like, they were amazing, and I wear them every time I go on a road bike ride. They're the only socks I wear on a road bike ride. Just things like that, you know. It's like, I don't know, sponsors are really tough, because you have to make it worth their while.
Yep. Yeah, you are a marketing. I mean, you're an advertiser for them. That's all you are.
Yep.
So it might seem like a relationship, and it can turn into a relationship, but it's you are advertising dollars to them. That's all you are.
Yep.
And it does, and it's hard to find good sponsorships to begin with, but ones that you can back on top of that makes it that much more difficult.
Yep.
So that's what we run into. But that's coming in, like, from your aspect of it, at being a professional level. I can't imagine, like, how hard it is. 'Cause we know how hard it is. But we only have, like, 4 or 5 sponsors, and 2 of those including being my own businesses. So it's very difficult. But that's why I wanted to hear, like, from you, how difficult it is, and like, do you follow those same guidelines that we follow in a way?
Yeah.
When it comes to that aspect of it.
Well, this sport is so, like, result oriented.
Yeah.
Shoot, I have never, like, I don't even get free goggles, and I feel like, and I mean, I don't want to be the type of guy to sit here saying, oh yeah, I'm racing pro, like, give me free stuff. That's not what I'm saying at all. But at the pro level, like, it's just made to be so hard if you're not in the top, like, 10. Because, I mean, like, I made the night show in Salt Lake, and finally, like, right after that, I got a bunch of free stuff going into the night show that I needed for that night show. And it was the biggest relief off my shoulders ever. And I still use the same stuff I got from that day now. Because it's like, to pay $75 for a pair of goggles. I know 65 kids that have the same deal I have for goggles. I'm like, and I'm racing, pro supercross. It makes no sense to me. Like, I feel like there's no, like they kind of help out. Like, if you're Jet Lawrence, you're gonna get it. If you're not, you're not. It's just kind of like
And that drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Even at like our level and your level, or obviously you're like the top 1% in the world. Okay, if you race professional supercross, you're at a level that, if you can imagine all the riders that actually ride, it just in this country alone it's an astonishing number. And then only 40 of you guys make it into a Supercross night show. And most people don't realize that. And they all think, you get the free gear, you get free ride, your bike's free, your parts are free. None of that's free.
Yeah.
By any means. You're paying for all of that. And at an amateur level, like there's no sponsorship whatsoever. Like, it's about the same aspect. We'll get 30% off of goggles, or we'll get 25% off jerseys, or gear sets. Or you guys are living the same struggle, but you're doing it at a much, much higher level where everything's much more expensive.
Yeah.
I don't know why the sport is so hard, like in that aspect of it. And it sucks for me to hear that you go through the same struggles that we go through at that level.
Yeah.
That's why we want to have you here to talk about what it's like.
Yeah.
Because it sucks to hear that we're all in the same boat.
Listening to a podcast the other day, and the guy was interviewing a privateer, and he was talking about the fair races. He's like, oh yeah, I hit those. Well, where are you going? He goes, I can't tell you that. And he's like, they won't say it. He's not the only one I've ever heard that won't kind of spill the beans where they are.
Is it just like more the, I don't want a whole bunch of competition, I want to win it?
I guess so.
I think that's going to be a confidence thing. I don't think that guy's going to be very confident in himself. Yeah, he's not going to be confident, and I don't want to call him out. I don't know who it is.
I can't remember the name either.
Yeah, I mean, you can't beat the best, or you can't be the best until you beat the best. So I mean, why? But one thing I will say as being a privateer is it's hard when you're lining up on the gate and you have to make that money.
Yeah.
Like, it's not really an option. If you don't, well, you got to go find a side job to pay your bills. I mean, it's a bummer sometimes, if you fall, or that's why you kind of like, if guys don't show up, it's kind of a relief because you're getting paid, I guess.
So we actually talk a lot about this on the podcast. Like I told you before, we focus a lot on the business side of it. So for you, this is a job. This isn't, you love to race, we all love to race. Like I love to race, Trey loves to race, a different style of racing. My kids love to race, but in your aspect of it, it is a job. Like you have got to make that money. And we talk about the privateer life a lot on here because we're so intrigued by the business side of it that most people don't get to see the aspect of what happens if you do fall. What happens if you break a leg at Daytona Supercross? Then what,
Yep.
So, shed a little light on that. Like, what it's like to live the life of racing as a job and not, like, from a fan's eyeballs, it's great.
Yep.
It's all racing, these guys are all millionaires.
Yeah.
That's not the case.
Yeah.
And that, we know that, but shed a little light on what it's like to be a racer for a living.
Yeah, well, I would say, maybe 6 dudes are millionaires
Exactly.
racing.
And people don't know that.
Yeah. I mean, Ty Masterpool's probably making, decent money, I would imagine, from sponsors and stuff, but from pro motocross, I mean, he's making hardly anything really to pay to go. But
Hey, what's the Cowie contingency right now for being the top Cowie on a weekend? I mean, I know Anderson beat him this weekend, but there's been times when he's been the top Cowie.
yeah.
He's not getting anything from Cowie except contingency,
Right.
but that's got to at least pay something, right?
Yeah, so Cowie contingency, and that's actually a big reason why there are so many Cowies out there, is they have the best contingency program, really. I believe, no, I don't think they're the only ones, but they pay the best just to make it in. Mm-hmm. Like if you just top 40, like you're getting paid contingency money. But yeah, I mean, it's like, I can sit here and say the numbers and somebody listen and can think, oh, that's a decent amount of money for a day of racing. But I mean, it's not a day of racing. You gotta travel, there's just so much.
Look at everything that goes into it. we say this all the time. Yeah, sure, you can make so and so per race, but let's subtract the fuel, let's subtract the hotel, let's subtract the bike, the maintenance, because that bike's not going there prepared without putting some kind of money into it. It's so I don't know how to wrap anybody's head around it. I mean, you're going to be the best insight to how you juggle all that and put those numbers into play.
Yeah, so that's, I guess, yeah, to get back and answer your question, a simple answer is it's full-time, non-stop. You know, you got to do things kind of, I don't want to say as cheap as you can, but I mean, you can't just do 3 1-hour motos a day like the factory dudes can, because we don't have unlimited supply of chains and sprockets. All of that stuff just adds up and costs money, and I've learned that a lot because I went to a race and I think it was the first time I had ever made this much, and it was like $860 or something, and I was pumped, super pumped. My dad was pumped, we were all pumped, and then, you know, I'm driving home and talking to my dad on the phone. He wasn't able to make it to that one, and he was just like, you know, I'm proud of you, and that's a really good amount, but like, you know, with everything that he helped pay for me to do that, I made a good amount that weekend. Had I had to pay for that all myself, I was in the hole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it just, like, right back to the beginning, it takes an army, it takes help, it takes, you know, a team. And I don't know, it's just full time, you know, by the time you ride and everything, it's training and eating, you know, sleeping, it's just everything comes into it. So, yeah, I mean, it's just budgeting is huge for me. You just got to really watch what you buy. Clothes are the least of my priorities. As long as I have something to put on in the morning, that's all I really care about.
You got to get those sponsor shirts so that you can just wear those every day.
Yeah, so I'm super grateful for the sponsors that I do have, because like the feed helps me out a ton. I've got a lot of people that really help me out with stuff. Still working on the clothing one. And I'm not I'm not the type of guy that just wants to like take a sponsor, like, oh, if I can get it, I'm going to take it. Like, I want to be genuine to what I actually use and enjoy and like. So, but yeah, I mean, it's just a lot being a privateer for sure.
So take us through some of you're a privateer. Are you driving to the races or are you flying to the races?
Driving.
You're driving. So you're taking your own, do you take a mechanic or are you your own mechanic?
My own mechanic.
Okay. So now.
Well, at most of them. Sometimes I'm able to have a friend come in, or my brothers helped me out. My dad's came to a few, so I do have some people, but for the most part, I'm just my own. It's just me and my girlfriend at the Supercrosses, and that's about it.
And you're driving to all of them?
Yep.
Okay. So we got that covered. Food. You're on the road. It's tough. It's expensive to eat out. And I'm looking at you, apparently your diet is important for you. My diet's important to me too, but in a different aspect. So that gets expensive. Do you take your own food, make your own food, or do you go out to eat?
I don't go out to eat. Never. I take all my own food. I don't eat out ever on the road. I'll prep my own food before, and then I'll get a hotel. Like, I'll save up so I can afford the hotels with the kitchen, so I can make my own food there. I try to find like a Publix. I love Publix, or just any grocery store. You know, when you're up in the north, just like find a Walmart or something, and I buy my stuff there, because I can't afford to eat out all the time. I mean, it's super expensive nowadays to go eat out.
Yep.
Me and my girlfriend, you know, we went to lunch the other day, and it's like $40, and I'm like, man, that's like a 2 days worth of food. You know, like, I can go to the store and spend $40, and that can last me 2 days or so for one meal. Yeah. That's a lot of money. So yeah, that's what that looks like. So
you were talking about how your dad helped you with the expenses, and that money you made was a good chunk of change. For a privateer racer, is there a thought process of, if I can have this part of my program covered, yes, I can start making some money? Because like, you made that $860, and If someone's covering the entry fees, cool, I don't have to pay for that. If someone's covering the fuel, I don't have to pay for that. Is that what you're looking for when you're trying to work on sponsorships? Or are you just like, I'll take whatever I can get at this point? How are you structuring that program?
Yeah, it's at first you're kind of looking for parts of your program to be covered, but then it kind of gets to a point where you're just kind of looking for help financially, money, and then you can do what you need to do. Some people are only willing to cover that stuff so they know where the money's going, and they know you're not just blowing it. But realistically, I do have you have real life other bills that have nothing to do with racing that have to be covered as well. So if you're racing for free, everything's covered, parts, gas, everything's covered, and then you don't make money, you still have to have a job to pay your rent and your van. And it's never ending. And that's one thing that I've learned, and is that it's never ending. And then the more help you get, it's like it just still feels like things just pop up here and there, and everything pops up. And I'm not complaining. And one thing I've learned massively is that no matter what, if you just keep your head down and you keep working, things work out. It just always works out. And you just be a good person, work hard, and comes around. If you get in a bind, I'm super grateful that I have my dad to help if I were to get into a real bad bind, but pretty pumped that I haven't got to that point yet. So
that's awesome. And it's great to hear this side of it, because like I said, nobody gets to hear it. Even in the amateur racing side, for our part, my kid's 5 years old, you trained him a little bit while we were at PAX, and it's kind of like the same thing. We're not at that level yet, and he wants to be, so that's what we work towards. But when we look for sponsors, and we have some sponsors, but we strive to look for people. I've turned a lot of sponsorships down, and we only work with people that I can back their products, or I can say that I'm willing to promote them. Is it like that for you too? Will you only work with people that you could actually back their company, or do you just take what you can get right now?
No, yeah, I do, because I do only work with people that I can back their company, because I really don't need a bunch of free product.
Correct.
From random companies and stuff. I'll only take sponsors that I can back in. I had a sock company sponsor me, and I'm not joking when I post about how amazing they were. You know what I mean? I'm not just doing that for the money they paid me. They were amazing, and I wear them every time I go on a road bike ride. They're the only socks I wear on a road bike ride. Just things like that, It's I don't know. Sponsors are really tough, because you have to make it worth their while.
Yep. You are a marketing. You're an advertiser for them. That's all you are. Yep. So it might seem like a relationship, and it can turn into a relationship, but it's you are advertising dollars to them. That's all you are.
Yep.
And it does, and it's hard to find good sponsorships to begin with, but ones that you can back on top of that makes it that much more difficult.
Yep.
So that's what we run into. But that's coming in from your aspect of it, at being a professional level. I can't imagine how hard it is, because we know how hard it is.
Mm-hmm.
We only have 4 or 5 sponsors, and 2 of those including being my own businesses. So it's very difficult. But that's why I wanted to hear from you how difficult it is, and do you follow those same guidelines that we follow in a way?
Yeah.
When it comes to that aspect of it.
Well, this sport is so result oriented.
Yeah.
Shoot, I have never I don't even get free goggles, and I feel and I don't want to be the type of guy to sit here saying, oh yeah, I'm racing pro, give me free stuff. That's not what I'm saying at all. But at the pro level, it's just made to be so hard if you're not in the top 10, because I made the night show in Salt Lake, and finally, like right after that, I got a bunch of free stuff going into the night show that I needed for that night show, and it was the biggest relief off my shoulders ever. And I still use the same stuff I got from that day now, because it's like, to pay $75 for a pair of goggles, I know 65 kids that have the same deal I have for goggles. I'm like, and I'm racing, pro supercross. It makes no sense to me. Like, I feel like there's no, like they kind of help out. Like, if you're Jet Lawrence, you're gonna get it. If you're not, you're not. It's just kind of like
And that drives me crazy. Yeah. Even at like our level and your level, or obviously you're like the top 1% in the world. Okay, if you race professional supercross, you're at a level that, if you can imagine all the riders that actually ride, it just in this country alone it's an astonishing number. And then only 40 of you guys make it into a supercross night show. And most people don't realize that. And they all think, you get the free gear, you get free rides, your bike's free, your parts are free. None of that's free by any means. You're paying for all of that. And at an amateur level, like there's no sponsorship whatsoever. Like, it's about the same aspect. We'll get 30% off of goggles, or we'll get 25% off jerseys, or gear sets. Or you guys are living the same struggle, but you're doing it at a much, much higher level where everything's much more expensive.
Yeah.
I don't know why the sport is so hard, like in that aspect of it. And it sucks for me to hear that you go through the same struggles that we go through at that level.
Yeah.
That's why we want to have you here to talk about what it's like.
Yeah.
Because it sucks to hear that we're all in the same boat and you're literally being watched on TV.
Yeah.
Is Rylan Munson a business?
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
Okay, so my question is, I come from the real estate side of things, and we were joking the other day we went to this event and there's all these giveaways. Well, car companies, they'll give you oil changes and they'll give this, and the bowling alley will give you free. Well, in the real estate world, I can't give you a free house as a giveaway. And here, I'll give you a free valuation on your home. Well, fantastic. So we were joking, my wife and I were joking, like, what is a real estate? What can we do? And we've realized we need to build relationships with businesses that have to do with homes so that we can then give those things to people.
Yeah.
The whole point of that diatribe was, since you are a business, have you started looking at how can the Rylan Munson brand help a business? And maybe, because there are a lot of privateers like you out there that are kind of working, they're not just doing camps, and they're kind of becoming this brand of, hey, I like Cat tractors and I like this and this. Have you started looking at that aspect of it?
Yeah, 100%. And I actually have tried to, venture my own path away from moto to find sponsors to help me out in ways that are very much related to sport and sports in general. I have they're actually local to here in Jacksonville, called iCryo, and it was I tore my ACL last year in between Lakewood and I guess it would have been High Point Redbud, because I couldn't do High Point. And as soon as I got back from that, I found them and I went in and talked to the owner, and ever since then they've been a huge help for me recovering from that knee, and then now even just recovering my body. And I that was a company that has nothing to do with racing, nothing to do with anything, but they advertise to athletes and sports in general for recovery. So I just try to promote them. I feel like I have a pretty good following and a following here in Jacksonville, and so I try to race locally and promote them as best as I possibly can. But yeah, I mean, absolutely trying to get outside of the realm of the hamster wheel of the same sponsors, inside the industry. Bringing these outside sponsors in, I think, is super good. So yeah, I don't know if you guys saw, but Justin Barsha, sponsored by The Feed. I don't know if you guys saw that. Yeah. So they're helping me out as well. So it's kind of cool. I feel like it's me and Justin Barsha.
Well, I wanted to ask you, have you met Christian Vanderbilt yet?
I have not. Nope.
because I know he's a big part of the feed. And
Okay.
I'm watching the tour of
Yeah.
and he's like on the advertisements and
Yeah.
so I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. That's actually a pretty cool thing because that is something that's important to racing is the rehydration, the hydration, recovery, eating properly.
Yeah.
And you see them, they're all on bicycles. There's triathletes, and I'm like, oh, motorcycles, that kind of fits.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we like it's going to be hard, and it is hard, but I think we have a really good like thing to build on here because motocross is big to us, but it's tiny.
It is.
Like I watched every single stage of the Tour de France, and I could not believe my eyes seeing how big that cycling is. Like
It's huge.
all the fans,
Yeah.
I mean, it makes our sport look like tiny, like it really does. So I think that we have a lot of room to grow, and bringing these outside sponsors in. I mean, like all the people at iCryo, it's like that they're helping me out. You know, it's like, oh yeah, I've heard of racing. Well, now that I go in there all the time and they see me on Instagram and stuff, they really know a lot more about it. And I tell them I just got back from Salt Lake City, and they're like, wow, you drove all the way, you know, that far. Like people are just starting to hear more about it, and you know, the more we can like put that out there to these outside sponsors, like you were just saying, like Cat and stuff like that, it's awesome. So
how do you educate? Because like you're educating iCryo right now.
yeah,
How do you educate them to one, come out and see what you do?
yeah,
Two, turn on the TV. Three, I think the electric bike thing is really helping STASIX on little kids. Like, how do you then educate them further to get them to buy in?
yeah. Well, I think it's I mean, I think they all like think it's so cool. You know, it's like motorcycles flying high through the air, like it's a cool thing. And you know, a lot of like, especially guys, you know, like engines and stuff, they're just like interested in that, but nobody really knows where to go or
Yeah.
how to watch it
Yeah.
or what to do. I think
There's not enough promotion of the sport at all. And
we're promoting back to the same people that watch it. That's it.
The people that watch it and the people that race it. I mean, I own a remodeling and handyman business, and some of my customers will talk about my kids, and I'm like, they race motocross, and they look dumbfounded at you, and I'm like, they race dirt bikes. They're like, oh, that's cool. I've seen that on TV a time or two, but there literally is no promotion.
Right.
Where like the big sporting events, they're everywhere.
Yep.
Like you see billboards about them, and down by us where Malcolm and James, their compound is, they're literally 15 minutes from my house.
Yep.
And there's a billboard with Malcolm on it, but that's it. Like you don't ever see, they don't promote the sport like they should. 'Cause
Right.
This sport is probably the most fantasizing sport there is.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it's literally just it's a group of us that out of the whole world, we're literally like a dot.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I wish I could figure out some kind of other promotion tactics.
Well, everything's so secretive too, like in all pretty much other sports, you can go sit in on NFL practices, I believe, from what I know, or like training camps. Cyclists, you can just see them riding on the road, runners running at tracks, just triathletes swimming, you can just see all these other sports, them practicing. But then like moto, we're at a private compound, gated, you can't see anything, no media, there's just nothing. Like everything's just so secretive now.
We were just talking
Yeah,
about
we
that
were.
on the
That's
way
what-
up here, of that what we were talking about. They did a thing on the race this weekend where they were talking about the guys about training.
Yep.
And it hit me like, man, why don't they talk about their lives more? Like, I watch IndyCar, and they're doing they did a 6 days to Indy or something. I can't remember what it was called, but it was a documentary on, and they're in these guys' lives. I'm watching the show on Netflix called Quarterback. They're at Patrick Mahomes' birthday party. He's wearing a microphone while he's on the field, and I'm like, it hit me. Why are we not micing these guys up? If he's wearing a microphone playing, we can put one on Adam Cianciarulo and see what he's saying while he's going around the track.
Well, I don't know if you guys know or saw, AJ Catanzaro did that in Supercross.
Yeah, the mic'd up. Yeah.
And it was awesome.
Yeah, I love that. Like, there's there's a part of that makes you guys look like you're actually human and not machines.
Yep.
Are you screaming at the guy? Are you singing? I mean, I know that every once in a while I wear a GoPro here when I race off-road. And every once in a while Michelle's like, are you singing? And I'm like, yeah. I'm singing a song because I'm trying to get my focus back. So I'm trying to breathe, and singing makes you kind of breathe. And she's like, what were you singing? I'm like, I don't remember. Because you can hear it, but you can't really hear it. And I'm like, can you imagine if I had a microphone and I'm just going around the track and, oh God, oh that hurt, okay. And you, get out of the way. And
Yeah.
I just think that would be so cool. And Patrick Mahomes, I watched the first episode, they probably had him on the field 30 seconds of audio, but if he can play a football game with that on, you guys can race with one on.
Yeah. Yeah, especially in the helmets, like it would be easy to
Yeah,
just
if it's
put
literally
like,
right at the nose piece, then
Yep.
So I just think like there's ways, maybe you should come up with that this year for like qualifying stuff, just figure out, or does AMA or Feld say you can't?
Well, so that's a big thing too is, you know, you can't wear the GoPro on your helmet anymore.
Yeah.
So really, I mean, GoPro on the chest doesn't work for me. The way I ride, it just points right at my bars. I can't like angle it. So like the Insta 360 is becoming big, or the fishbowl lens for the GoPro. But you know, like I've been trying to do that, but once again, I haven't been able to save up the money for a GoPro, and my GoPro's all like scratched up and not good. And then second, I try to vlog. Like I tried to vlog all my Supercross stuff this year, but when you're trying to vlog, a lot more things are more important than that vlog. You know, like
especially if a bike issue.
Yeah.
You know, a bike issue arises, then you're done. Like that's
all you need is a media person, and it could be the cool. Like I could make the coolest stuff. Just film every single thing I do because I'm not trying to hide anything, and I feel like a lot of guys are. And
I think the vlog thing is cool.
Yeah.
Don't, and this is going to sound counter, don't try to make it professional.
Right.
When you're in
Yourself.
changing clothes, I have a little tripod. Put your phone on the tripod, just talk like while you're getting dressed, shoot 5 minutes, put that together. On the way home, I don't want to hear your race report that you qualified 42nd and you made it through the last check. I want to know, like, dude, the hotel, this city, this is going on. Man, the people were crazy. Did you see what Justin did at this? I cannot believe. Oh, and by the way, I did this.
Yeah.
I want to know what was the trip like?
Yeah.
Where did you travel? How was travel? What did you run into?
The life around it.
Life around it, and what we saw. Man, we really love stopping at Love's truck stops. They start talking about the things that you see and do versus setting up on your dash. We had our camera set up because we were thinking about doing like a pre-thing, just had the camera facing us
totally forgot about
on the
it, to be
way up
honest.
and like just shoot the breeze. We may talk about it on the way home. We may shoot one to go Facebook Live on the way home, just set up because I can drive and not look. I don't care. And just talk to your girlfriend about the trip and let us, like you said, you're not afraid. Hey man, when I get home, I gotta work on this.
Yeah.
Let us know what you had to work on. What were you good at? What were you bad at? And I hate to take your time, but I feel so passionate about like, let us in. I think Adam Cianciarola does it the best, and he's even said in his podcast, if I was allowed to talk about this stuff, I would be more than happy to tell.
Yeah, but that right there, allowed.
If I was allowed, yeah.
Because
Why aren't we allowed?
I don't know. Why can't we know how much someone makes?
Yeah.
I understand it's private, but
Yeah, but if they want to disclose it, I feel like that should be on them 100%.
it's not.
Right.
No.
It's not. It's on Cowie.
They're all owned. It's like they are machines. Where I said how AJ Canzaro makes him feel like he's a human,
Mm-hmm.
and you getting to talk like that, you feel people see the human side of you. Those guys, they don't get to be a human.
Right.
Like they are machines,
Yep.
and they are a part of Pro Circuit Kawasaki. That is what you do.
They're hired to do a job,
Yeah.
and that's
all you do. You don't.
If they're told to let somebody around, you better let that person around, or you're at your job.
So you're a pro and you train.
Oh yeah.
Have you had the opportunity? Because like he and I've talked about, man, I would love, my daughter works in Tallahassee. We are 25 minutes from the goat farm.
Yep.
I'm like, I just want to go, you can have my camera. I just want to go watch what you guys go through every day.
Mm-hmm.
There is no way in hell they're letting me on that property to go watch.
Yeah.
Have you been able as a pro to go see other pros train?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I actually got to train a little bit with Sexton down at Tyler Rattray's, and that was amazing. That was really cool. He's an awesome dude.
I've heard he's very, very nice.
Yep.
He is a very nice person.
Yeah, he had introduced himself to me. I'm just there washing my bike, and he came up and I just asked if I was new because had just started at Rattray's, and yeah, he came up and because I wasn't gonna bother the dude. I mean, I'm sure he's got a lot going on, and I'm not like I don't really care.
He's trying to figure out how to keep his front end from going to the left.
Yeah, well, let's not even get on that topic. But yeah, no, that was really cool. You know, it's like, and that just shows when you're riding with those guys, like it's just a different world, and the machine is just, you know, there's just so much. I think he's kind of the only real like factory rider that I've gotten to ride with before, that I can think of.
So did you train or did you just watch? Like, can I learn, or like what did you?
Well, so I would he would go out in between my sessions.
Okay.
So it's kind of like we had a group that would go out, and then like he would kind of go out and do his own stuff, and that's kind of how it should be. I mean, he's on a different level than, I mean, a majority of people anyways, like even most of the 450 class anyways. So yeah, I would just watch, but I mean, it's hard to really, in Supercross, I mean, you can watch what they do, like body-wise, but on a factory 450 and I was on a stock 250, it's like, how am I really going to replicate any of this? You know, I kind of just have to like do my thing, you know, as best as I can.
Did you? And there are those differences. Is there anything like, if you had the opportunity again to sit down and say like, hey, how do you run your life? And off book, hey, we're just talking, and do you think there's anything you could take from, maybe you can't take the riding because the equipment's a little different, but can you take stuff from the life and use?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, I think those guys definitely have a lot going on and they have a lot to do. I think as a privateer, I think, you know, we're more like, after riding, those guys they're getting paid, you know, so they can go home and whether it's they need to take a nap, you know, for recovery, like they have that ability. Whereas when I get home from my training and riding during the day, I paid to ride there, so I just lost some money. So now I got to go work. Like I don't have that time. So yes and no. I mean, they just have the time. I'm really grateful for my team and my trainer, Complete Racing Solutions. That I've learned like a ton of what I need to do for all of that. So, but I'm sure there's still more that I can learn from what he does and stuff. But also everybody's unique. You know, what works for him may not work for me. So
awesome. Who's the owner of Complete Racing Solutions?
Rob Beans.
Yep, he is one of the. It's amazing. The guy's been in the sport for years, and somehow he's a polarizing figure. It's amazing. But the guy's knowledge base is unreal. Like unreal. He trains triathletes, bicyclists, swimmers, horse people, racers.
This is his passion.
Yeah,
moto,
it's not. This is not the biggest part of his business.
No way. It's probably one of I wouldn't say smallest, but yeah, definitely not the biggest.
Have you ever had the chance to sit and pick his brain? Because what he's talked about wanting to do with professional racing is pretty cool, but he's never really gone too much in depth, and I don't expect you to either. But have you had a chance to sit down and pick his brain about what he sees about professional racing?
A lot.
Yeah.
Let's leave it there.
Yeah, I don't expect you to spill any beans, but I know that he is polarizing, but he also gives a damn about it too.
A lot.
And he cares about the rider.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. I'm very grateful for the relationship I have with him. He's actually the one that got me the opportunity to move here. So I've been with him for a couple years now. I've been on his team for a little bit now, and you know that kind of goes back to the sponsors and stuff. Like I do get free gear, I do get free stuff a lot through him, which is super helpful. I mean, to not have to worry about paying for gear or gloves is massive for me because I go through a lot of that. I go through a lot of gloves, a lot of gear.
Do you change gloves every time, every race?
If I'm doing a pro stuff, most of the time, yeah.
And why is that? I have a buddy that changes gloves every race.
So I I don't do it every single race, especially like local stuff, like I said, pro stuff, yeah. But I like my gloves to be dry. I sweat a lot, so my gloves will get wet. I can't stand when they're wet, so I'll put on a dry pair. I also like them just tight. And then, I don't know, it's just kind of a thing. I'm just going to put on a new set. I want to look crisp and fresh and represent my sponsor, so I'll put on even a local race. I'll put on a new set of gear in between every single moto if I can, just to look clean, look fresh and professional, and do my job. So,
how many guys are on the Complete Racing Solutions team? Because I know they're getting ready for Loretta's, and that's a big thing.
Yep. So there's our factory team. I'm not sure the exact numbers. I want to say there's like in between there's about 6 of us. But then he's got like other levels of teams with more guys, I think like 20, and then he's got off-road, like he does it all.
Yeah.
But I believe there's 6 of us here.
No, I highly respect what he's done. I don't get into the drama side of things. I truly, he's got a knowledge base. I think my nephew, MJ, is now using he's using his dietary plan.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he went through the process, and he's on that eating plan. He's on the training plan, because God knows that would MJ'd have to do some work there. But on the eating plan, he's on the eating plan now. And but no, I truly believe it. If you get the chance to see him, tell him that he has a big fan here in Polk County. I really do like what he's done over the years. And I remember him when he was training Adam Cianciarillo.
Yep.
I remember that far back.
Yep.
So that's awesome. That's a good tool to have in your toolbox.
Yeah. I was like, a couple years ago when I was able to, save that contact in my phone, I knew that was going to be something that I would, definitely like keep in my bank for forever. So, because he's an amazing mind and an amazing person for sure. So
do you enjoy eating ice cream?
Yeah, for sure. That's the secret right there is ice cream. That's for sure.
MJ was telling me the other day, he's like, yeah, I have to eat. Before bed, he had to eat something, it was like a pound cake, like a angel or something. He had to eat some sort of cake, and I'm like, yeah, so you can satiate your hunger. And he's like, how do you know that? I'm like, because I've listened to him for a year.
Yeah.
But I think he picked you up because you have a similar look to Ryan Dungey. Has anybody told you look like Ryan Dungey?
I think I've heard that, and I've also heard Tyler Bowers.
I could say Tyler Bowers.
Yeah.
I feel like Tyler's a little thicker, maybe?
Maybe.
Tyler's definitely a big dude.
At the point that I was told that, I weighed probably like 30 pounds more than I do right now.
Still though,
But
he's a big dude.
Yeah.
You probably who do you ride like? Are you genteel on the bike, or are you more of a bulldog?
Oh, very gentle, and I'm like told that I'm like sneakily fast. Like I met a guy and he actually sponsored me and still helps me out a ton. And it was like, he was like, dude, like I didn't even really hear you on the track. I just thought it was another bike. But then when you like watch and somebody else goes out there with you, it's like, holy crap. Like I keep my RPMs really low. Like I don't know. I think that's a lot to do with trying to be easy on my bikes. Like these Kawasaki's, and I'll knock on some wood, but I have people tell me all the time they're blowing them up and bottom ends and clutches, and I haven't replaced it. I've replaced one clutch ever on a 4-stroke bike. Ever.
Really?
Yep.
You're not a clutch guy, huh?
No.
I appreciate that. I'm not a clutch guy either. I have a 2021 YZF 250 FX. I haven't replaced clutch yet.
Yeah.
I'm at 85 hours right now.
I'm a Cali guy, and I've never had any issues.
Yep. And some people could say, oh, well, you're not riding hard enough. I disagree with that. But to answer the question, I feel like honestly, on a practice day, I feel like I ride, and this, people can laugh, but I feel like I ride very similar to Jet. Easy, I stand up, feet on the pegs, I flow, everything. The hard thing to replicate is doing that on those rough tracks.
Yeah.
That's what's hard. So.
And is the only way to do that in the race? Is that the only way? Because they can make the practice track rough, but it's not the same as 20 pros going through it.
Right, yeah. And then it's also hard mentally to say, okay, I'm going to flow and go faster than these guys. Like, it just feels like bulldogging, you're going to go faster when in turn, you can clearly see it. He's 16-0.
Yeah.
Flow, you're going to go faster.
But I think Jack Chambers ran into that problem. I think Jack Chambers this year, I think he ran into some racecraft issues. There were times like, instead of trying to squeeze into the spot, let me take the outside. And I think that it's a hard lesson to learn. And if you can learn it, maybe you don't pay off right now, but maybe you pay off later.
Well, it's hard to learn it, considering you go from like 4 lap races to 30+2 from an amateur to a pro.
Yeah.
And then even Loretta's, I mean, you just don't have enough time to learn racecraft. You can't sit behind guys for too long or the race is just going to be over. I mean, Loretta's 20 minutes, that goes by fast, really fast. So 30+2 doesn't, but 20 does.
So we talked about this last week. You're a taller kid, and you talk about his riding style. We talked about last week Bubba brought in the Bubba Scrub. Jeremy McGrath did his thing, and we're like, well, what's the new riding style? What are these guys going to bring? But like we both said, it's already here. Like that flowy aspect of how they ride, I guess you want to say. If you look back, like guys like you, tall guys, were really not that fast back. Back in the Bubba days, it was all the Ricky Carmichael. They were real short. And now it's like you taller guys are very flowy, and I was waiting for him to say, I feel like a flowy rider, because I just looking at your pictures, you can tell like you're tall, and your pictures on a bike, you can tell that you're a flowy rider. I don't even know that I have a question, because you're not going to be able to answer like, do you think that your tallness plays a part in that? But I've noticed that all the taller riders, like that's how you guys ride.
Yep.
I don't know. We can't get an answer of why, like where that's deriving from, because it has evolved from small riders to taller riders, and now the tall riders are the dominant riders, where it used to be the entire opposite.
Well, I feel like I can just stand, keep my feet on the pegs, and use the force of my legs.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, where it comes from.
But is that coming, where we were bantering back, is that coming from the engineering of the bikes now? The triangles are set up different? Because you used to get in a corner, and as you were coming into the corner, sit down and go. You're rolling halfway through the corner, maybe more before you sit down, and then you're immediately standing back up again.
Yeah, and then, some corners, if it works, you just stand the whole thing. No, I don't think that comes from anything other than strength and fitness. That's my opinion.
Where, Carmichael has turned the entire sport from what it was to what it is now.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't know if he was standing up or not.
No, not really.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, like those guys were so short. Like they are tiny.
Yeah.
And now it's the tall guys, the tall, skinny, you're like a rail, then that's the fast guys now.
Yep.
And I do think it has a lot to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
The bikes haven't really changed that much. They have.
Yep.
But it's still a
dirt bike.
Yep.
Still
it's not like they're literally like 2 inches wide. You can just squeeze the things. They're still the same build, in a way. And it's what it has to be. Is the fitness is now like if you're taller, you got more leg room, more leg strength. You can literally do these type of things. It's crazy how it has evolved like that. But it's
I think Jason Anderson talked about it in the press conference, that one of the guys asked him this weekend about the riding with these new kids and the new riding style. And I didn't get to listen, but supposedly the answer was eloquent on what this new riding style is. And if you're talking about it, did you learn it, or did someone teach it to you, or was that just how you ridden?
I'm very unique. I don't like facilities. I don't really like just staying at one spot, listening to one person. I do my best when I go to the track on my own and work what I need to work on, because I have good people around me that tell me what they see and what I need to work on, and then when I can go on my own and apply it, that's when I do my best. So I've kind of just taught myself that. I know I'm strong. I know I have the balance. I know I have the speed. I know I have everything. So I've just kind of taught myself. And when you can flow, it just like everything just starts to come so easy when you finally can get that, stand in that flow. Yeah. So to answer the question, more just teach myself. I have gone to facilities and stuff before and learned a ton, that I'll always keep. But once again, everybody's just so different. What works for one guy might not work for me because I'm 6'4". I'm just different. So
So you're a little shorter than Bloss, but
yeah, like a little bit taller than AP. I think.
He's the next. I think he's the next one.
Yeah, I don't like I'm trying to not be quite as skinny as I am because I'm real skinny and I want to weigh a little bit more than I do. But I'm just trying to be a little bit bigger.
But isn't there a happy medium? Because I think Tomac's a fairly big guy. Jet, if you look at Jet, he's not smaller, and Sexton's definitely not smaller. Sexton's pretty strong.
Yeah.
We're not the Marvins and the Dungies of old, where it was a little more compact, thinner.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's a fine line. You kind of want to be thinner, I guess, but then you're kind of more fragile.
Yeah.
And I've learned that big time. I'm tall and I'm real skinny right now, so I'm trying to get that muscle and that strength back for before next year. So
when do you actually start we'll use the term boot camp? When do you start boot camp?
I guess that would probably be for me, not this week, but next.
Okay.
I took a couple weeks off over the summer, and then I've been using I've had the past 2 weeks just kind of getting my body back going, cycling, riding in the gym, and then we'll get real hard into it next week.
Now, does Coach Rob set that up?
Yeah.
Okay, so you just have to follow the program.
Correct.
And you give him your dashboard every day?
Yeah, so thankfully, him and I communicate on a daily basis.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I just, I follow it to a T, and because I know that if I do this, I'm not going to do too little and I'm not going to do too much. If I'm feeling super good, I'll say, hey, can I do some more, whatever. But yeah, we talk a lot.
What does so let's go not on your off time, because that's something I'm curious about. And I know there's things you can't say or don't want to say, but what does a normal training week look like? Riding, training, sleeping,
like a full day?
Yeah, like a full day.
It's like next week?
Yeah.
Full day?
Yeah.
Just get up, like 6:30 in the morning. I try to get up early. Starting the day early is just way better for me. I've learned that. But I just get up, I eat my breakfast, and then I'll probably go straight to the track. If it's a ride day, I'll just go straight to the track, try to be to the track as early as I can and ride as early as they'll let me, to be out of the track and be home by lunchtime. So I'll do my motos or whatever I have on the schedule, my riding. Be home by lunchtime, and then usually I'll just kind of try to get out of the heat for a little bit, but that's hard because I'll get home, I gotta wash my bike, get all that done, get the bike prepped, and then eat my lunch. Usually I'll go work for a while, and then after I work, I'll come home, go to the gym, get my gym work done, whether that's in the gym and then a bike ride or whatever that is. Eat dinner, and then just kind of hit repeat. It's kind of, it's nothing major. I'm not hiding anything. That's really all it is. It's not a ton, but it's a full day, and it's just a lot of stuff to do in a day, every day. So
what does the work entail? Are you teaching lessons? Are you working? Are you on a loader moving dirt? Or?
You guys are gonna like this. Delivering groceries.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, it's absolutely perfect for me.
Like an Instacart type of deal?
Yep. And it kind of was like a secret for me for a little while, but it's not really a secret anymore because they're full. So good luck to anybody trying to sign up. But
I've heard it's really good. It's a really good gig to get into if you can get into it.
Yeah, and I got into it early, and it's just boomed. For people that have a full-time job, probably like you guys, you can work an extra hour and just, hey, I'll pay, have my groceries delivered, tip them $10. I take a lot of pride in everything I do. I don't care if somebody wants to judge me for delivering groceries. I'm going to do it the best I can to make the most money I can. So I get home from riding and I have a raging headache, I'm not going to work. I get home from riding and I feel great, I'm going to go work for 4 hours and come home and do what I just make the most I can in the amount of time I allot, and then go go from there.
And you don't have to be out in the heat, so you get to actually
Well-
utilize your workspace.
Well, I don't have AC in my Ranger, my little Ford Ranger, so it's like probably 112 in there when it's
Listen.
100 outside.
My business van doesn't have AC either, so it's a hot box.
Yeah, so I try to spend as much time in the store as I can and then quickly deliver.
So do you actually shop for them?
Yeah, you shop
okay.
the whole thing and then,
So do you work for Instacart?
yeah,
That's what I got.
but you don't have any boss.
Yeah, no, it's you're your own deal.
You don't answer to anybody. I literally put my headphones in, turn on the podcast, do my work.
I was gonna say for you, it's an educational thing too, because you can get information, the information you want to put in, and it's your. So that's not bad. I mean, honestly, it's not a bad thing for a pro athlete.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I've even heard stories of Mike Brown doing DoorDash and
Yeah.
stuff, but no, and I think, with, like, I'll see other people doing orders and they just, I think, kind of do it in a different way than me, but if I'm working, I'm working. Like, I'm not messing around, I'm working. If I gotta eat a snack, I'm gonna eat while I'm driving. I'm gonna just do what I need to do to make the most that I can, and
Yeah.
you can make, you can do pretty decent. As soon as I turned 21, it got a lot better when I could start delivering
Yeah.
alcohol, because people tip a lot better, and,
Yeah.
not to bore your listeners.
No,
That's the real life stuff.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, this shows that you're still a human.
Yeah.
Like, outside of racing, if you're not making money, you still have to pay your bills.
Oh yeah,
So,
like
how do you do that? And that's one of the most flexible businesses that you could be in
100%.
around racing.
That's what I was so curious of, is what are you doing? Because if you're not coaching kids or running a loader facing a track, or what are you doing that allows you to train? And that answers that question. That's perfect. That is,
Yep.
and I will tell you, we are a grocery delivery family. I mean,
Yep.
that's we have that stuff.
Yeah, yeah, and it's awesome because I can take it with me anywhere I go. I go stay with my sister in Texas for a week. Well, do a couple orders if I have the time. I go up to Colorado. I do some there. It's tough when you don't know the stores. Like, I know these stores like the back of my hand here.
Yes, you can go.
Yeah.
Efficient.
Time management.
Yeah, super efficient. I just know where everything's at. Works out good. I'm in and out. I make my money, and
Yeah.
I think about it all the time when I'm doing it. Like, it would be hard to find a job that pays how much I make an hour doing it. But the only thing is that you don't make that much an hour on a 10-hour day.
Yeah.
It's like 4 hours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like dinner time,
Yeah,
stuff like that. So
but it works for your schedule
perfect.
and allows you to chase the dream.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
the other thing. You're never going to find a job that's going to work around
My
your
schedule.
riding schedule.
Yeah.
They don't
Some
care.
people might say, but yeah.
They might think it's cool that you're a professional supercross, motocross rider, or most of them aren't going to even know what that is. But
They're trying to build their own business.
they're not going to give a rat's behind about
Yeah.
how professional you are, because that's
Yeah.
not going to make them any money.
Right,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah, I think that's admirable that you're willing to say, yes, I work. And two, that you kind of thought enough, what can I do that I can still chase this?
Yep.
And that's a tough gig, because a lot of people don't want to swallow their pride. I'm a motocrosser, so that's all I do. That's all I do. Okay, well, you can live in a van down by the sea, or you can
Yeah.
live in a really nice place, have a gym, and be able to go train.
Yep.
And I commend that. I commend that, and I think that's cool. How does Coach feel about you, like, burning extra hours out when you should be taking a nap?
I don't even know that I've told him that I do that.
Oh,
I really
You might find out now.
Yeah, I really haven't told like hardly anybody about my friends and stuff that know.
well, thank you for opening up. We
Yeah.
appreciate it.
No, this is awesome. I'm glad to get to open up, but I don't think he minds.
Obviously, you're still following your program just fine. I
Yeah.
mean, if there's no issue there, then
Yeah, I don't let the work get in the way of my work,
Yeah.
like riding and
Yeah.
training and stuff. So I make what I need to make, and I work as hard as I can. But if there's a day where I'm just like, I gotta train, I'll train and I'll make it up another day. So that's how I look at it, and the self-employment of it is amazing, because I know what I need to make.
Yeah.
all right, I got to work late tonight because I know I need to do a couple extra orders to make $100 more or something, you know, just to be able to afford something. Or
And trust me, we more than understand that. We were both small business owners.
Yeah.
So, like, there comes a time where, hey, my wife is cut on hours this week. Like, this is what I got to do to pay the bills. And
Yeah.
it's so nice to be able to, I can do this job, I can market to these people, see if they need anything else. I can do this job.
Yep.
Where a 9 to 5, you aren't doing that. Like,
No.
this is what you make, and that's, if you don't make what you need for that month, you're done. Like,
It's
you're screwed.
a guy like Rodwell. I mean, he was working air conditioning.
Yeah.
And luckily his boss gave him the time off to go race, but he would be in an attic all day and then try to figure out he could go ride at Budds Creek at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock at night to get some riding in. And that's tough.
That's brutal.
That's tough.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's why I'm grateful. I can get up and I can go ride in the morning,
Yeah.
and then I can work later. I can use when I'm fresh mentally and physically in the morning to go ride, and then I can be beat and try to get in some orders later in the evening. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So,
So, have you ever been in a race and had the Instacart? Like,
I've thought about
post race?
I've thought about it, or like staying in a hotel, like I've had the time, but no, I've never done it. I've always just been like, all right, I'm gonna rest. Like
Yeah.
when I'm racing, you know, that's like sole priority. I
I didn't know if there was ever a time like, you know, I could use a little bit of gas money, so you go to a grocery store. And,
No, thankfully, like that's another thing is that I don't really know what I would be doing without my dad because I get my gas covered. So to have that gas covered to do an Instacart, like Instacart is like full income. Like I don't really pay anything
Yeah.
to do it. Like
all profit.
yeah, a lot of people shoot, you know, with gas prices. That's got to be tough. So like I'm super grateful for that again. Just you know, I've got the help to be, you know, getting by and getting through it. But nope, I have never done that. Like I said, I've done it in other states before, but never
Yeah.
had a race.
What's the best part about being a pro motocross, supercross rider? And what's the worst part?
Oh, the best part's definitely meeting fans and like taking pictures and stuff. Like this year was incredible for me. It was like my first pro year, and like showing up at the races, like I actually have fans and people are buying my shirt and like want my autograph and take pictures, and you go on Instagram and you know you're tagged in stories and stuff. It's amazing. It really is cool. Like that's my dream. Like, I really didn't, you know, like my dad was a small business. Like we never really like did anything huge, and so it's awesome doing that. And then the worst part, I don't really have a bad. I mean, I guess the worst part about it, I would say honestly, is just the stress. And probably a lot of guys can say that, but there are some days where I'm like, man, I really wish I didn't have to look at the price of how much these eggs are going to cost or stuff like that. You know, it's like I just wish I could be all right financially and just race my dirt bike. It's like just the stress of the bike parts and just it is.
Yeah.
A full-time job, 24/7. But that's how I grew up with my dad having his own business.
That's part of the
full-time
sport anyway.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like at an amateur level that we are, it's we need to rebuild this bike. We
Yep.
need to. So even at a professional standpoint, it's really no different.
No.
If you're in this sport, you gotta figure it out because it's very expensive, regardless of what level you're at. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. So on this note, what's it like to line up at a supercross race?
Well, so lining up was a lot better. It was a lot harder lining up in qualifying
Yeah.
because when so qualifying all season long was nothing major. You know, just lined up against other privateers. Well, then I roll up to Salt Lake and they put me in A group, and so I was.
Oh, you were in it.
I think there was hardly any privateers really because the 250 class is stacked.
Yeah.
And by privateers, I mean like non-teams because, you know, the Phoenix Honda guys, that's factory to me. You're flying, you're in a semi.
Yeah.
So there was probably like 4 of us on, you know, privateers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, caught me off guard in the first section. I just like wasn't really like being tough. Like I wasn't putting myself out there. So, I mean, just getting parked in the corners by Deegan and just all those guys. The only dude that was cool to me was Hunter Lawrence. He'd get behind me and then just kind of go around me when he could. All the other dudes, you know, wide open in the air, just like park you in the corners. They don't care who you are because they've never seen Munson on a jersey before. So then finally, in the second session, I was like, all right, I'm not taking this crap anymore. These guys are no better than me, and never got messed with at all. Even in the races, just never got messed with. In the races, it was tough. The night show came around and it was muddy. So I got lapped and stuff, and so that was tough because it's hard to really move out of the way.
Yeah.
I guess the heat race was good, but the LCQ was what was muddy.
It ran like halfway through that night.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful track. It looked beautiful up until
the LCQ.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I wasn't nervous on the gate or anything. I was just so pumped that I had finally made it in. I worked all season. I knew I was going to be leaving ahead of where I came in money-wise, so it was just like kind of such a relief. But qualifying was like, I did my one fast lap, and I pulled into the mechanics area and told my brother, I was like, I feel so sick. I'm so nervous. Like, I don't know. I couldn't even hold on. I had nothing left. I tried to do another fast lap on my very last one, and I overshot the triple into the corner and hit my face on the bars. I was like, all right, I'm done. I hope my lap holds. And it held. Before I even came to the finish line, I'm bawling in my goggles because I'm like, finally.
You did.
It was amazing.
So lining up, let's say you're in 250 heat 1.
Yeah.
What is it like to sit on the gate and just look?
Yeah, it was amazing. I think that I had the opportunity the year before to do Salt Lake, and we got to race in the night show in front of the crowd. But just being a part of the show,
Supercross race in general, it doesn't matter what race it is. Like,
Yeah.
what is it like to sit there and just look? The opening ceremonies, looking around.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It truly is. I mean, all season long to watch opening ceremonies from the stands, like, people just don't understand how terrible that is. Like, you go, you drive, you do everything to be there, and then you're not down there,
Yeah.
But to see the fireworks going off and the national anthem, just everything, and you're down there getting ready for the heat race, it's just like, it's really undescribable.
Can you feel the heat coming off the heat guns?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you can feel that up in the stands.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's so cool. And then especially something about Salt Lake, I mean, they sit really, really far down and close.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting on the gate. I was dead last gate pick, furthest to the outside, and you look over and the fans are like right there. I mean, they're just looking like right at. It was so cool.
Like, hey,
I got chills. I used to have chills talking.
That's how I am just thinking about it, because I know, like, just being there.
Yeah, sold out.
From your shoes, I can't even. I've been on the tracks before, I've track walked them, but it's a whole different ballgame when you're behind a helmet.
Yep.
Sitting on that gate. That's one thing I've always wanted to hear, and I've never really got the opportunity to sit down and ask somebody what it's like to actually line up at a Supercross race and just take it in.
Yeah, it makes everything the top guys do a lot more respectable, because to be in that atmosphere and still execute your plan and every single thing you need to, clutch release, simple things, become so behind in your mind when you've got a sold out crowd watching you.
And
you're just
noise, and you just hear DJ Monster Energy or whatever doing his thing, and then 30 seconds, let's go, and the cannons are going off. And I was going to say, you're at the very inside gate, so you're getting the echo off everything. 1 second after the gate dropped, what are you thinking?
crap, I got a bad jump.
I was just curious because it's like, it's all, the nerves are going, and all of a sudden it's like, you hear that sound, and it's like, oh, wow, this is real.
Yep.
It's, you got 40 bikes just screaming, but to me, I feel like it would be total silence.
Yeah, I really I don't even remember, I was the furthest outside gate, and I'm pretty notorious for getting good starts. Even in qualifying, I would get decent starts, but the gate dropped and I kind of had wheelied. Or no, I got off the gate good and then hit a hole and had kind of wheelied. So immediately got pinched off to the outside. Mm-hmm. So I had to back out of it because it funnels so fast. So I was pretty well last, and tried to just like stay up in there because I see guys just back out all the time. I was like, if I can just stay up in there, and then there was the first turn crash, and I got around some guys. But yeah, I was like, dang it, because I always get good starts, and then the gate drops, and I'm on a stock 250, and I just was like, they were gone from me.
Oh, yeah.
The first time lining up against factory motorcycles. I've always rode stock bikes, so I was like, oh my gosh, I'm at a power disadvantage here.
And that is a tough thing on the 250s, and that leads me to, what is the lifespan of you on a 250? Will you try a 450 before the dream is over? Like, is that the goal, to go to 450?
Yeah, so I actually ride a 450 outdoors.
Okay.
I'm full-time 450, really.
Okay.
I ride 250 for Supercross.
Okay.
You have to ride a 250
There's
Yeah,
the
what's
stipulations.
rule on that?
until you make a night show.
Okay.
So I finally made the night show at Salt Lake. So I can do 450 if I want, but I'm going to stick with the 250 again, and just do the East Coast stuff for next year. And, I think a 450 would be a little bit too much for me on Supercross right now until I can get the 450 would be too much until I can get the 250 down. I still have a little bit of work, like things I want to work on the 250. Like, just
appreciate that. I appreciate that honesty of, hey, I might not be ready for the 450 right now.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that, because everybody's like, oh, I'm better on a 450. I'm better on a 450. And there's a professional saying, I got some stuff I need to work on.
Yeah, definitely do. I really enjoy my 450 outdoors just because I'm, taller and bigger, and it just works well for me. But Supercross is just a different game to ride a bike with that kind of power.
That wants to go straight the whole time.
Yeah, and the tracks are so tight, I'll stick on the 250, but definitely I'll race the 450 on Supercross before I'm done. I mean, I'm young, so I got a lot of years.
Oh, for
There's
sure.
quite a ways to go.
Yeah.
And the way they're riding now, if you've got the dream and can make it work, you've got time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You've got time.
Yep.
Because that was one of my curiosities, is you have your head on straight. You've got something that helps pay the bills. You're in a good area. You're training in good places. How long can it go for? That's and as long as you're covering the bills, you don't want to be like what DB says, like you're wasting your time. David Dillon was very honest about that. He's like, I don't know what these guys are doing. They're not making any money. But if you're surviving and you're having fun,
You're living a dream. Like, the dream is not to, of course, the dream's to get rich, but if you enjoy what you're doing, I mean, it doesn't really matter at that point.
Yeah.
If you survive, you're literally living the dream without being rich. You still live the dream.
Yeah, I think about it all the time. I mean, I can be sitting there, I don't really scroll on Instagram or anything a whole lot, so I'll be sitting there going to the bathroom or something, and I'll hop on and look at real estate and stuff, and oh man, like I could so easily go get a job and be able to afford getting a house and start getting my life going, and easily, just have a family or whatever I wanted to do, get a nice truck.
Does that Supercross gate horizon like outweigh all that? Like that feeling?
100%.
That's what I figured. Like,
Yeah, I would rather live in my van and get to race a Supercross every Saturday night and meet the fans and sign the autographs than work a 40-hour job and live in a nice home, because materialistic things just get old.
Yeah, they don't matter.
They just get old. That feeling is just
that
unmatched.
one autograph that you might have signed that night can change a kid's life.
Oh, yeah.
Versus you having nice cars and nice houses.
Yeah, knowing that people have signed jerseys of mine out there somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing.
They're probably sitting on somebody's shelf or hung up, in their room. It's mind blowing.
Yep. Yeah, so there's really like, I could work and I could work and make loads of money, but as long as, and it's hard to say this because like if all my sponsors just dropped me today, I couldn't do what I'm doing. So I'm not making enough money to afford what I'm doing. But with the team I have around me and everything, and I'm getting to live my dream until I'm going to ride it until it's done.
There ain't many riders that could lose all their sponsors and do this.
Right.
Like, there's no shame in saying that whatsoever because most of these guys are funded by their sponsors.
Well, if I lost my sponsor, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I would also probably not live inside anymore either, but, I mean, if I lost my sponsor.
Yeah.
They make a world of difference.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a sponsorship sport.
Oh, yeah.
There's no other way around it.
Yeah.
All right, so we made a night show.
Yep.
I know there's goals for the upcoming season. What is the realistic goal? Not, I'm gonna go out and finish top 5.
Yeah.
What's the realistic goal? Or maybe it is top 5. I don't know your progress.
No, I mean, yeah, obviously, I could say the goal is to win because the goal is always to win,
Yeah.
but
Well, what is a win? What is a win?
a win would be first place. But a win to me
Yeah.
would be, I want to make every night show.
Okay.
I want to make every night show in 2024, Supercross, every one that I do. And I should have no problem with doing that. That would be my first goal, and then second would be I don't see any reason why I can't make a main. At some point in the season, I would really, really like to get in the main. And then I haven't made a national yet. I haven't made the motos. I've only done 2. I've only got the opportunity to do 2, and I really want to make the motos too, because I think that qualifying is what I'm struggling with. I think I could do really, really good in the motos. I think I have this fitness and the speed to do really well in the motos. I'm just struggling with that one lap, all out.
You think the nerves set in?
Yeah, the nerves set in.
Qualifying.
Yeah, and then you get pumped up, and then it's hard to send it. You
Yeah.
can't send it when you're all pumped up because you're just gonna crash. And I'm not gonna go hurt myself and be out for months. It's
Yeah.
dumb. So.
So have you found any ways to combat that?
Yeah, I have. I actually recently have found that because that's something I've struggled with a lot. Yeah, honestly, like it's a lot of just in yourself. You
He's
gotta.
hitting the calm app before he goes out.
Yeah.
Well,
Get the headphones in
yeah,
and listen to the
yeah.
meditation.
Well, it is. I mean, you gotta find that deep breathing, that
Yeah.
flow state in your mind, and just relax. It doesn't matter what other people are doing. You just gotta just relax. That's really as simple as it can be.
Do you do any visualization stuff? It's easy for me to say.
Yeah, I do actually. I did. I started that before I went to Loretta's,
Okay.
and I actually started it before I went to my regional for Loretta's, and it was like the difference that it made was unreal.
Are you visualizing the track and break points and acceleration, or are you visualizing something else?
That
Oh, okay.
everything. So,
Perfect lap. Basically,
Yep.
what a perfect lap would be.
yep, sit on my spin bike. I'll pull up the track map for the Supercross that weekend, and I'll just close my eyes and over and over and over of what needs to be done. The only thing that's tough, is those Supercross tracks, when you look on a track map and then you show up, it's different.
Yeah.
They're much different.
So then
Yeah.
you've just visualized a whole lap of a track that's a lot different.
Speaking of that, how much time do you have from track walk to the first time you're on the track?
If you're the first group, not much. I mean, you gotta hustle. And so that's kind of a bummer because it's hard to get warmed up.
Yeah.
It's hard to have the time, especially when you're doing all your bike work and everything on your own. I don't know the times exactly, but it's not a lot. I mean, you gotta hustle. I don't really stick around for the chapel service or anything to go get geared up and get ready. So.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but that
No,
led
you're
me
good.
to, because I was wondering about that visualization, the track maps. We look at the track maps, I'm like, I can triple that. You go to the track, and you're like, no, you triple on that.
Yeah.
So I
Well-
understand.
Well, I got to ride press day in Detroit this year, and
That's cool.
huge.
Yeah.
Only bummer was all the other privateers in my class got to do it also.
Yeah.
So I kind of leveled it out a little bit more.
Yeah.
But it was huge for me. I had a pretty big crash that kind of was on my mind for the rest of the weekend. That kind of hosed me, but it was still huge for me to get to do it.
Yeah.
But even press day, segueing off into that, if you guys want to, that was kind of
Yeah.
tough. I had never rode my dirt bike at 5 a.m.
Oh,
before,
yeah.
ever. I slept in my van the night before. I drove all the way from Florida to Detroit. No, I'm sorry. I drove from Indianapolis to Detroit. After Indy, I flew home and left my van at the airport.
Okay.
And then flew back and got to Detroit late, slept in the pits in my van, and got up. It's raining, unload in the rain, and then I was logging, so I got videos on my phone, and you can just see I'm so tired. You're just down there hoping to get a little bit more time on the track, and you get your ride sessions in, and you're done riding by 7 a.m. It's the weirdest thing ever.
Crazy.
And it's just so that they can get other news people down in there.
Yeah, and so the factory guys can sleep in and go at 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We see A-Ray teaching the lady how to ride a motorcycle and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. But, it's, I would say majority of the group that I got to go in, everybody's privateers, they're kind of just there to see the track.
Yeah.
Like, could care less about the media.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
there really wasn't a bunch of media there. It was more just the local news, like your 5 a.m. news channel.
Yeah.
They were probably just had a reporter talk and us ride in the background. That was really it, and then afternoon group comes and, all the interviews and racer. None of those guys are even awake when we're out there.
No.
I was kind of excited. I'm like, oh, cool. Am I going to get to talk to Jason Wygant or any of those guys? And nobody's there.
He probably hadn't even flown in yet.
No, yeah, definitely not. Half those guys probably were flying in that morning for sure, yeah.
So what's it like as a true amateur and people that watch this, what is it like to come around a corner and hit a set of whoops and know that, okay, I gotta do this 6, 7, 8 times in the next 6 minutes?
Yeah, I'm straight up, I'm not very good at whoops. I'm really I'm just not good at them. I should be, and I know I have the capability of how tall I am. I just haven't really got to learn and practice on a full-blown big set. But when it came to Salt Lake Night Show, I kind of just sent it, and I did really well. I know how to hit whoops. I guess I have learned the technique of what I need to do. So I just put all my emphasis into it, and yeah, it's scary, but it works. Yeah. And that was one thing all Supercross season that I would think about, and I'm thinking in my mind, how in the world does this just work? I mean, you're hitting just
glide over top of them.
Yeah, how does it work? And faster you come in, the smoother it's going to be, and the better you are at the end. And then if you start getting sideways, you just can't chop the throttle. So it's full commitment.
Do you have a finger on the clutch, or you?
I don't know.
I just hold on.
Because that is one thing that critiqued James on, is that there was multiple crashes that he probably could have saved had he had a finger on the clutch. And they're just amazed that he didn't. He's like, dude, I just hit the gas. Yeah. And sometimes he would hit the gas and go ass over tea kettle, but he was so fast in them. And watching Tomac this year a couple of times, they're like, dude, I swear he was a second and a half faster going through the whoops than the other guy.
Oh yeah.
And it's just a commitment thing. But yeah, I think the clutch helps modulate. Like you said, you can't chop the throttle. But what do? You start going sideways. What do you do? A professional racer, you hit this whoops, you start kicking left, right. What are you doing? What are you doing?
You're thinking, oh crap. I mean, straight up. Because I'm not immortal or anything. I don't have the fancy suspension that, all the other guys do. It's oh gosh, I gotta just give it the gas and get out of here, straighten her back out.
And then you go around 37 seconds and you're back again.
Yeah, and you got to put that out of your mind and do it again for sure. Whoops are tough. I mean, even when you're on a practice day and we're working on them, it's you go down and then you're I don't even want to work on these anymore. You're just it's brutal and it's tough, and it's really tough to get a run coming into them, being on a stock bike, just to have the power to come out of a corner and come into them. It's just tough. I mean,
it is a separator, though. It is a true separator.
Yeah, I think my personal opinion. I mean, and I don't really know what to say. I don't even want to get into it because I don't know what to say about these tracks. We lost pretty much the whole entire 450 class this year, which was terrible for the sport. Absolutely terrible.
On some random stuff too, though.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But I think they need to have difficulty, but I don't think they need to make it to where if you mess up, you're gonna get hurt.
We've talked about this. The tracks are out of control.
Yeah.
They have gotten to the point that they're so peaky that you can't screw up.
Yeah, I mean, I think it should be where difficult. If you want a quad, that's gonna be a lot faster. But not to where if you go for the quad and you case it, you're done.
Yeah.
Breaking both your ankles, you know,
Yeah.
going over the bars, like you're just toast. Because, I mean, you can go back and watch the races. I mean, you can watch this, or even qualifying, you know, when they're sizing up jumps, like the top guys, you know, they can case stuff and they'll just bring them to a stop.
Yeah.
I mean, like when you case something on and you don't have that suspension, I guess. I mean, I don't want to make an excuse,
Yeah, no,
but I mean, it's
something
just
has
gonna
to
like-
give.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah,
has
whether
to
it's in your legs, I mean, it all goes through the bike up into the body. I mean, it's energy, no matter how you look at it.
That's
so.
where we would need Coach Ron to go through the mechanics of that for us, the physical mechanics, because I've heard him discuss that before. But yeah, the body is the biggest shock absorber.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you get kicked on a triple and you case it, I've cased little stuff in my woods, and boy, it hurts. I can't imagine coming that high off the ground and casing something.
You didn't ride at PAX, right?
I did not.
That's,
No.
I didn't think.
Yeah, I was taking that time off.
That's right. So like, CJ let another guy and I go out and ride because we kind of helped you guys out. And one of those big jumps I cased, and it went the whole way through my arms, and I felt miserable after. Like I was done. I've cased a lot in my life, but
Well, so there's actually like a way to case a jump. And I learned this a lot at Tyler Rattray's, and then I learned it even more with some guys at a WW Ranch. But there's a specific way to case a jump, and the very first thing is you just can't panic.
yeah,
You cannot panic, and you want to hit your front end first.
Yeah,
Most people would think you'd hit your front end and it's going to send you, but
No.
it just stops you. And if you hit front end high, it's going to send you over the bars. If you hit front end first, you know, it'll just like stop you. Like even the worst of a case, I mean, some are going to be unavoidable,
Yeah.
but like if you can just like try to just stop, you know, like don't try to bounce because you bounce and get kicked. Like just try to like yeah, it's going to hurt and it's going to suck, but if you can just nose it and stop, I mean, you're probably better off. So
to avoid strong injury.
yeah,
Because if not, I mean, the amount of energy that you're exerting to hit the jump and then to put it all into one cushioned area, like
Yeah.
that's where you always see the worst of the worst. I mean,
yeah,
it's always casing jumps. Yeah, people wreck on big jumps and they get hurt, but when they case a jump, that's where you see a lot of these guys get
Yeah.
just destroyed.
Thank goodness we have the nets now, because you hit the nets and you fly off into them instead of...
Yeah, bikes get wrapped up in them.
yeah,
So, but no, that's awesome. I didn't realize that. Speaking of the casing, there's a way to case. I was watching something the other day from one of these trainer guys, and they were talking about learning how to fall and gymnastics abilities and learning how to roll
yeah,
when you're crashing, and whether you're crunching the shoulders or you're flipping. And it's
Yeah.
like, dude, I never thought about that. I just need to go out in my dirt and like start doing somersaults. And
get used to rolling.
yeah,
Yep. I think the big thing with that is just going to come down to flexibility. I mean, more so than knowing how to roll, because if you can bounce and not break,
yes.
you're going to be way better off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I've been battling, I understand the injury. I compressed my spine at an enduro 2-3 months ago, and I'm still not back on the bike, but I didn't bounce. I stopped immediately, and the right side met the left side in the middle of my spine, and it's been a journey, but I have been working on flexibility because I broke my helmet. I hit so hard I broke my helmet, and I run a good helmet, and the doctor's like, well, you have no damage on your right side, but the left side is beat to hell. And I'm like, yeah, everything stopped and just joined. Like when I landed on the right, everything came. And had I been able to bounce, I would have dissipated so much energy, but because I hit something solid, I just, like literally, you can see the video, I just stopped, like stop.
yeah.
So I think that is something that you guys go so fast and learn how to ride and be smooth and everything, but there is that ability of how can I lessen the damage? I'm gonna fall.
Mhm.
If you don't fall, you're not going fast enough.
Mhm.
I think is kind of the way it is. So how do
Unless
you?
you're Jet Lawrence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The faster you go, the more it looks like you're some
So
kind of goddess
I
or
don't
something.
think he's fallen any moto. I
Oh,
don't think he's
yeah,
fallen
I
yet.
don't think. No.
he almost fell 3 times this weekend, and it looked like he saved it and smoothly went out. He would be an incredible FTR racer right now.
He can just put his foot out and he stops an entire ring.
Yeah.
I mean, It's ridiculous. So how do you feel lining up with like guys like that, or like being on a track with them?
I don't really know. It's like,
Are you a jersey watcher? Or are you just like, you're in your zone?
I would say I'm a little bit of both.
Okay.
I'm too nice. I learned that really early on in Supercross that I'm too nice, and so I changed that fast. Like if I was on a slow lap, or just like anything, like I would kind of ruin my own fast laps if somebody faster was coming up behind me. When if you're on your fast lap and they're coming behind you, make them go around.
Yeah.
If it ruins their lap,
They've got another one.
That's
Yeah.
an advantage for you.
yeah, who cares? Like I'm just kind of too nice of a guy. I was in that sense, but
There's nothing wrong with being nice. Don't lose that aspect.
no, I need to be nice outside of
Yeah,
racing.
but in that aspect,
Yeah.
there's a fine line to draw.
Yeah,
But you still don't have to be mean on the track. You just have to be mean to protect your spot.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's only been one time, and I apologized to the dude the next weekend. I cleaned the guy out. Don't know why. I was fired up. I wanted to make the pass, and I just cleaned us both out down in Orlando.
You know the rule on that. If you you crush them, you don't crush you. If
Yeah.
you crush you, it didn't work.
Yeah, and then he got up and beat me anyways. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
lesson learned.
Oh, big time. I apologized to him the next race, and life went on. But yeah, lining up. I mean, in one sense, it's like kind of unfair, like because I've always been on the stock bike, and it's like, oh my gosh, like it's just like incredible. They say Ty Master Pool's on the stock bike, and I really don't know how much of that I believe because he's like right there on the start, and those bikes power wise are way different. So that I think there's got to be something.
It's a lot of mapping too they can do.
True, yeah, and it could, but like I've never even had a bike mapped. Like I literally
literally ride a
roll
stock
up
motor.
on a stock motor. I may have a Pro Circuit exhaust, but a bone stock bike with the little clips on the side.
Yeah.
White if it's sandy, green if it's a little bit, whatever it may be, just bone stock. I mean, yeah, you're gonna get pulled.
Have you not met Dan Truman yet?
I tried to reach out to Dan and I didn't get an answer back.
Come on, man. We have a Florida pro here. Come
Yeah.
on. Reach out.
It's I don't really know. Lining up next to him, it's cool. It really is cool. But it's like you kind of line up at my level at least, and the level I would say 90% of that 450 class isn't lined up to beat Jet Lawrence. They're lined up to beat
Yeah.
Ty Master Pool,
behind.
Nicoletti,
To get a point.
some other guys. Yeah, it's like
the top.
there's two races going on out there
Yeah.
for sure, more than that. So it's cool lining
I
up.
was talking about it. It was Millville. The battle between Frederick Noren and Jose Butron. I was having so much fun watching that. There was nothing happening in the front.
Yeah.
But these two battling for 9th and 10th, this is a big deal for them.
Yeah,
It's a very big deal.
yeah.
They're getting pressed. They're trying to get to the next race.
Sponsors are getting.
Yeah, they're getting coverage, and they're having it all out. Well, it was a very European battle because there was a lot of sitting down and a lot of smooth lines, and it was a very slow, fast battle. But yeah, there are multiple races, but those are the things we want to see. I actually told him last podcast, dude, can we just put a camera on Jet? Because once he gets his lead, he turns into the largest, smoothest trail rider. I want to watch him bounce around the track. I think it'll
Yeah,
be so
they
much
need
fun.
to have that Thor battle box 24/7
Yes.
to watch the battles and him.
Yeah.
Because I also don't want to see him go over the checkered flag every single moto when there's a battle going on.
Yeah,
We need to see it both.
I want to see him ride because yes, we can't do it like him, but if I at 50 years old can go out and like, okay, well he's smoothly, oh look at that, he bounced off this bump into the corner. Well, at my speed, if I bounce off that bump and go, I'm gonna be better.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I want to watch that
Yeah.
because once he gets the lead, his riding completely goes to. The other day, last lap, he is cruising and put on 2 seconds.
Yep.
And it's like, if he's cruising that fast and still putting on 2 seconds, the rest of us can learn. We can't do it, but we can learn. Be more erect, get in the middle of the bike. Because when I was young, you put your sack on the tank and you set. Well, they're not doing that anymore.
No, not at all.
No.
Way different.
Yeah. And I have to learn that.
Yep.
And it's something my buddy that helps me, he's like, dude, why are you getting on the front of the bike? And I haven't had the heart to tell him, because that's how I was taught.
Mm-hmm.
I understand we got to change, but I give up that foot of space. It's a very uncomfortable.
See, I'm a firm believer in like, I just ride how I ride.
Yeah.
I don't adjust anymore. I'm
Yeah.
too old for that, for one.
Yep.
But I do what works for me.
Yep.
You know, I still feel fast when I ride. Sometimes depends on how I feel that day, but like that's worked for me for how many years? Sure, I didn't turn pro, but I've also broke every bone in my body at this point. But like it works, so why try to change it? And it's going to evolve in the next 10 years again.
Yeah.
You know?
And I'll be done by then.
Yeah, somebody else is going to come in and they're going to be riding. They'll probably go back to the way it was in the 90s or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like
going.
a never revolving circle.
What's
Yeah.
your favorite surface?
Sand.
Sand.
Big time. That's why
Wait,
I'm.
from Colorado, you like sand?
Yeah. Yeah. I love sand. We have I don't know. We just have we don't have sand, like full-blown sand tracks up there, but we do have a couple like just small sand pits and stuff. And I've just always been a sand guy. We had actually one sand track, I remember, but it got shut down when I was young. But yeah, I mean, I was a huge fan of Orlando, and then they brought in that clay. I haven't been back, but like I love crew. I just love the sand. I like letting my 450 eat big time,
Yeah.
so I love the sand. It's
Least favorite.
I mean, if I'm on my dirt bike, I don't really mind,
So
but
how would you have liked Washougal this weekend?
that would probably be my least favorite. Like, I don't like just the rock hard, like, just hard pack tracks, because it is so easy to have one slip up and then you can get hurt at.
Yeah.
You can land and like the square edge holes and stuff like that. I guess that would be my least favorite. It's just like the concrete type tracks. But
Because there are actually guys, crazily, that actually like that stuff.
yeah,
I don't know how you would. I always picture riding that of like going down my street and
Yeah.
turning around. I'm like, that's what it looks like.
Yeah, they're not comfortable. Like coming from PA, that if it wasn't raining or they didn't water the track, it's hard as a rock, and it's full of rocks too.
hmm
So like on a hot day, it's literally like riding on concrete. You come into a rut and it's like slamming into concrete.
yeah,
They are miserable, and when you land, it's like landing on sloped concrete.
yeah, yeah. I rode Wednesday and it was like real muddy. Got some good ruts going, and then I rode again Saturday at the same place, and it had all dried up, baked. Nobody had rode in between. It's just a private track, and so it was pretty dry. I mean, there was some good spots, but it was pretty dang dry. And when you that's why it was hard for me to answer that question, because when you can find that flow, I don't care what I'm riding on.
Yeah.
I mean, even
Just
out there,
feel good.
yeah, he had mowed around there, so there was like just grass everywhere. So it was, just slick and just like couldn't even see the ruts. But when you start just flowing, it's like put me on anything and I'll ride it. So
Yeah, I was just curious because I know that people have their favorites and their least favorites.
yeah, I like where you can you can charge into stuff and it's gonna hold. Like sand berms that aren't going to blow out. Like that's what I enjoy. Like I want to go to Southwick so bad.
I figure like you would enjoy Southwick, Redbud, and Millville. Like
Yeah.
That three groups of track you would really enjoy.
Yeah.
Maybe not Redbud. What's the Bud's Creek?
Yeah. Wasn't able. I was trying to do Southwick this year, but wasn't able to get up there. But yeah, those are ones I want to go to for sure.
Sweet. You ready for Daytona?
Yeah, I'm ready for Daytona. That one was awesome this year. Sand isn't as fun with Supercross suspension,
Yeah.
but it's still that was still by far my favorite race this year. It was so much fun, and I'm so ready for it next year. That was probably the most disappointed I had been not making a night show. I was close, and I got a lot of time on race day live. I got a full lap. I almost whole shotted the start on the qualifying. Like it was a great day, but that atmosphere,
It's amazing.
and that I wasn't on that gate. I was so bummed.
Yeah,
I was like,
we're there every year. We
Yeah.
never miss it, and hopefully we're there a little bit more this year than we anticipated.
yeah.
But
Hopefully I'm on the gate. Not hopefully, I'll be on the gate this year.
So,
we'll come down and see you.
so what's talk a little bit about that, because they talk about the sand and the Supercross, and a lot of the riders, you get it from the top riders, they really don't like the sand and Supercross. If you go to Daytona, that's what you can expect.
Mhm.
What is the difference? Is there something with the holdup? Does the bike just not feel secure under that suspension load?
Yeah, it's like riding moto. The sand just gets kind of like rough, and it's hard to. I don't know. I guess a way to explain it would be, you come in with moto suspension, you can lay it over in a sand corner, but when you come in with Supercross suspension, you almost got to like emphasize that and lay it over even more because it's so much stiffer. I just feel like it just wants to either, just like kind of pull you. It just does kind of its own thing because it doesn't compress as much. It's just kind of like you're right. It's almost like not riding in sand. Like it's just so weird and hard to explain. It's like slick.
Okay.
And then it's also different because they're just putting sand out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just laying there.
Yeah, it's just laying there. It's not like you're riding on sandy dirt,
Yeah.
like actual sand terrain, I like it. I don't know why people complain about it. I think it's awesome, and I think it's kind of a safe separator as well, because I think Tomac's super good in the sand, and then you get some other guys that might not be as good.
Especially if you get a good drive through it and it has multiple lines.
Yeah.
Sometimes, that was at Tampa a couple of years ago. The sand was awesome, and then they put it in the corner. This year with the straightaway, that was cool. Like where they were jumping, and
Yeah.
that was a lot more. I enjoyed that this year. The sand there.
Yeah, and then I don't know if you guys could tell on TV, but even at Daytona and Tampa, those straightaways with the sand and the rollers, it's not like what one might think, or like Croom, if you guys have been, where there's rollers and you can just kind of like fade. It's a full-on rut the whole entire length of the straightaway. It is like insane balance. It's super tough.
And you guys are jumping into it.
Yeah, you're jumping
That's
into
the
it.
crazy thing.
Well, and then at Daytona and Tampa, I guess, the sand was the straightaway and into the corner. So the big thing was, you jump into it and you're pinned, you're leaning back, and then you gotta like brake. I guess you don't have to brake, you can just like kind of let off and it'll brake for you, but to slow down in that sand, your front end starts washing. It's
awesome.
tough.
We went for qualifying this year, and it was awesome watching guys go through the sand or skip it because I'll go through the whoops and I'll skip the sand to get ready for my hot lap. And guys come into the corner and they would literally just stop, and I'm like, that's not how that works.
Yeah.
Like I don't know a lot of stuff, but I know because a lot of the stuff we do is on the sand. It's like no, just keep going. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Like, and they would literally just like stop, and I remember a couple of guys like literally stopped so hard they ended, and it's like, I'm not good, and there was no way I'm ever beating any of you, but I really feel like I can get through the sand a little easier than you.
Yeah, the momentum is the key. Yeah, to keep that momentum up and get a drive, especially in the 250s.
Yeah.
To get a drive coming out of the corner through the straightaway. Or like at Tampa, where they had I think we jumped into the sand big time, but to land and not just get stopped, to keep driving forward was huge.
I think it was it Tom Vial. He either crashed in the corner or he landed and just stopped. And he
At Daytona? Tom, yeah, because we literally, that's where we were sitting, right where that happened. We were up in the roof section there, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
But we were right by that. He got ate up.
Well, I don't know how long we're going to go on, but we do need 2 hours. We need to cover your sponsors. Who helps you do this? Who's helping you live the dream?
Oh, well, my dad and my brother, and that's Munson Excavating back home, Colorado. So my whole family stayed there. I moved down here by myself. So them there. Definitely not.
Welcome to Florida.
Well, you can tell I was homeschooled. Definitely.
That's what happens when you get through school in 4 months. Huh?
Yeah, them there, they sponsor me good.
Them there folks back in Colorado. We came with the gold rush.
Yeah, but no, them and Complete Racing Solutions, Coach Rob, he helps me out a ton. iCryo here in St. John's, Florida, they help me out. the feed. Kyle Helton, Distinguished Radiant Heating, he helps me out a lot. Jared, back home in Colorado, Greater Grounds Landscaping, he helps me out a ton. Yeah, I mean, I can just keep going. I haven't fully announced yet, but getting some help from Deep South Kawasaki, so that'll be cool to be kind of with them.
Where are they based out of?
Georgia.
You said they're in Georgia, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Who am I forgetting? It's really it. I don't really have a huge group. I mean, I have like, Works Connection, some of those people, some of those guys help me out. We've got Dutch Racing, all of them on board. But myself, my family, my dad, my brother, we just kind of, make it happen, enjoy going to the races. And
on the full factory stuff with Moto E, it's Moto E, is it Moto E?
Complete Racing Solutions, so he rebranded.
Oh, okay, so it's just Complete Rating. What gear are you guys wearing? Is it private label or?
It's T-Dub, so that brand's actually out of Australia.
Okay.
We brought it into the United States, so Todd Waters,
Oh, yeah.
he's the owner,
Yeah.
and he's brought it over, so T-Dub, with the gear is huge. It's pretty awesome gear. I run a rye.
Okay.
The team does have a deal with 6D, but I'm more comfortable in a rye, so I stick with that. We've got Fist Racing hand gloves.
Yeah, those are Australian as well too, aren't they?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yep, something like that. But they're amazing. I really like the gloves. And once again, like I'm not just saying that because I get them for free. I really enjoy the gloves.
I've heard really good things about them.
Yeah, they're really good. Man, I'm just trying to.
Boots? What boots?
I don't get any help with boots, so I'm not even going to name any companies.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Don't fault that at all.
Yeah. And then, like I said, some other companies like you get help from them, but I just kind of feel like it's like the same help as. Like, and then you can reach out to them personally and you don't get a response. You can just kind of like, only get the normal, like, customer support that's, the 50% off code that every other Joe Blow has got.
I feel like for the landscaping guy, I feel like you two should come up with a really cool marketing strategy. Maybe you could do like some trenching and look, when you have some erosion, we can come in and like you could do something with the dirt bike and and landscaping.
Well, I'm pumped that Distinguished Radiant and Greater Grounds Landscaping, that they're both still helping me out being down in Florida because they're small, privately owned Colorado businesses.
Okay.
So social media has been huge for me because I can still promote them from clear down here to people,
That's the biggest thing nowadays is there's so many ways to market.
Yeah.
You can still help guys that are 2,000 miles away ish.
Yeah. So then I can, but then it's also very grateful I've got a bike there, so I can talk to my dad if we can hop on a flight up there. I can race locally, still do some stuff up there and promote them, at some local races up there.
That's awesome.
Which is super awesome. I guess the last sponsor would be my girlfriend. Special shout out. So she helps me out a ton.
And that's the tough role. At some point, I want to have.
She's got the toughest role.
I want to have a rider wife. Like we've had our wives on talking about being moto moms and amateur moto wives. But I want to talk to some of these wives that are living the life, whether that's driving in a van, taking time off to go to supercrosses, or you're on the road. Man, I hope he's okay. And what's he doing? Holding the home front down.
Yeah, I mean, even the simple fact of me training, going for a road bike ride.
Yeah.
I know she probably hates it. I love it, and I'm gonna go for a road bike ride. But I know she's gotta be like, you just worry, like
Especially in Florida.
Yeah. But no, for sure. I mean, she's got the toughest role. I mean, I go to bed pretty dang early on a Friday and Saturday night when I'm sure she wouldn't mind going to a concert or going to hang out, at the beach or going to do stuff. But, when there's priorities and I put that first and she never complains, she's always there for it. So
That's awesome.
yeah, it's a tough role for her to be in, but I'm grateful. So
And you seem truly appreciative of it, which is something that, is commendable.
yeah, because I don't think, I think so many people, myself included, I mean, it's so easy to be selfish.
Well, you have to be.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to
And she's, like everybody is selfish. She is in her own way, but she's not in the way of like our relationship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She enjoys going to these supercrosses, and she enjoys she just has made it part of her life. Like she's just accepted it and really enjoys it and does her own thing, with getting outfits and, we're just doing that kind of stuff that girls like to do, and she's made it be her own thing. So it's pretty awesome.
It's good.
Awesome.
The new shoes and all that. I wish I could do that, have cool outfits coming into races, but
Does she have track walk shoes and regular shoes?
no, she doesn't want any part of track walk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
She'll watch from the stands.
Doesn't want to see what happens out there.
No, she'll stay out of the mud.
Yeah.
She's just got the nice Nike, the dunks and all that for the stadium.
All right, so 2024 East Coast Supercross.
Yep.
We gonna try motocross or continue the fair race?
For this year
Yeah.
or for next year? I'll probably not do any motocross this year because everything's full.
I mean next year.
Oh, next year, yeah. I'm gonna try to do all 12
Okay.
outdoor rounds.
Okay.
I may even, depending on how this year goes, do some West Coast 450 on the 250.
Okay.
And then depending on how Supercross goes, I may stick in the same class for outdoors, the 250 class, because I'd like to get into that super motocross thing. But I'm going to take my goals one at a time. So gotta start getting in the show and get the points before I can worry about that. So
A few years ago, Brooks Koepka, I think it was Brooks Koepka, he posted on his iPhone, his goals that he had written down at the beginning of the year on his iPhone. The date, timestamp, everything. And he hit them. One of them was to win the US Open. And it was like, okay. And I'm sure you and Coach Rob have talked about goal setting and that kind of stuff. And it's amazing what will happen if you put that in front of you every single day. What you'll see.
Yeah.
And, I look forward to it. This is the first time we've had moto dads, we've had business people, we've had fellow racers,
FCA.
we had a track owner, we've had FCA. To actually have a pro rider and like pick brains, it's pretty cool.
yeah,
This was fun.
yeah. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it a lot. First time I really ever gotten to open up about my story and stuff, so it was amazing.
We're happy you can share, and I think maybe come mid Supercross season, we'll sit down with you again. We'll
Yeah, that'd be cool.
see how the season's going, and
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Maybe we'll do it.
maybe even Daytona. We can cover your day or something.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. We can dive more into other things. I mean,
What
we could sit here
it's
for
actually
forever.
like, I could do this all day long.
Yeah, dive into the training part and
Yeah.
eating, all of it.
That part to me is so the business side of it, how you get there. I love logistics. I love racing logistics and how you get stuff to and from, life logistics regarding racing. I think all that stuff is just so cool. And Derek and I, we'll have our own podcast during the week while we're just chit chatting, and it's like, dude, we should just start one of these. So we did, and now we just get to talk to other people about it, and it's fun. And I would love to at some point do another one, like maybe towards the beginning of like right before season, like, hey, what's it look like? How you feeling? Like, what's training look like?
Yeah.
Even that.
And then do one, like you said, Daytona or something else, and like go and be in the background and just say like, okay, this is what's happening. And then maybe on a Friday night or Saturday night after hey, let's talk about it. What was it like? What'd you see? And
Yeah.
we're very simple. I mean, as you can tell, our setup is very simple, but we feel like we cover
What
the
people,
normal stuff.
yeah, what people don't. I like to dig into, like you said, you were happy to open up.
Yeah.
How many people give you the option to open up? You know what I
Right.
mean? So that's something that we strive to promote. You know.
Yeah, and you don't gotta have anything fancy. I mean,
No.
majority of like you said, there's a lot of people in the United States that ride.
Yeah.
Probably just looking for, the true racers and stuff. I mean, I feel like, you can listen to the Pulp and Neck show and a lot of that stuff, but true, real raw realities are, you gotta find stuff like this. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Your
and
listeners are gonna hear
there's
it.
more of you guys doing this than there are Chase Sexton guys doing this.
oh yeah,
And I say that with the most honor for those guys. They are the epitome of what it is. I mean, the IndyCar race this weekend, there was a guy that finished 28th. He was still in the IndyCar race, but he finished 28th.
hmm
And guess what? He was there.
hmm
And it's cool. Like, he's getting to do it.
yeah,
there's different levels of this.
Yeah, I mean, same with the Tour de France.
Yeah.
How you look at it, somebody placed 160th.
There's domestiques that we don't even see.
Yep.
And they're literally, here's your food. Oh, okay. You need water, I got you water.
Yeah.
And they're riding the same race, but their job is completely different.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
Yeah, it's amazing.
yeah. But it sounds like you got a good support team.
Definitely. Yep, definitely grateful for everything I got. So, probably going to head over to iCryo as soon as we're done. Get ready for another training week.
Very good. Well, if there's anything that we can do to help promote you or talk about or let us know, you can shoot Derac. If it wasn't for Derac, this would not have happened today. I got to give all the props to Derac. But if there's anything that we can do, let us know. This is kind of up our wheelhouse.
Yeah, and we'll talk about it after. But
And thank you guys for driving all the way up here.
yeah, it was an absolute pleasure to have you here. I'm glad that you got to open up. I'm glad that people can hear what you guys do. And it was a good drive up. So
yeah, this was fun for me.
yeah,
Because I like Derek said, I'll reiterate the opening up and just saying like, hey, this is normal life. Like, dude,
you're still human.
Yeah, I'm a human guy,
Oh, yeah.
and I train my butt off, and this is what I do.
Yeah, last thing I guess I would say is it's pretty easy to fall into the, when you start racing professionally, like, oh, I'm better. Like I don't need to go race a Florida Series race. Like, I'm too good for that. I'm not. Like, I'll go there. I'll be best buds. Like, I'm going to congratulate you if you won the C class because that's a big accomplishment for that kid.
Yeah.
I remember winning the C class, and it was the best feeling I had. Like,
That's
I
the thing.
worked hard for that.
You started there too.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that I do, like there's a lot of the professionals that do get that mentality, and I can't stand it
Yeah.
because like
You're no better than
like my kid just got his first win last weekend, and that kid is still smiling about it.
Mhm.
Like, but they look up to these other guys that are literally like, and it drives me crazy. I'm happy to hear that. I'm glad that you're still like that.
Oh, yeah.
And to hear that you still congratulate these guys is like, don't lose that. Don't ever lose that, because that's very important to me anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of guys do that because they're afraid to go to a local race and lose.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, well, how can you race professionals on the professional circuit if you can't even win a local race? Well, that's not reality. You know what I mean? You're not going to win every race.
No.
I went to North Florida and raced, and there was some dude on a two-stroke, super fast. I beat him off our motos, thankfully, but just fast guys. I mean, there's just local guys that are always going to be fast. Yeah, it's just, when you're a racer, I think you're just a racer. So
Motocross racers don't get out from many other sports. Go NASCAR. NASCAR does this a lot. Their guys will go race late models, dirt cars. Guess what? They don't win all the time.
No.
yeah,
Because in those series, there are guys that race at Hickory Motor Speedway every Friday and Saturday night.
Yeah.
They go there and they're fast, they're in good equipment, but they're not going to always win because it's not what they do.
Well, for one, like they know the tracks, but
Yeah.
that's not just it. Like, not everybody has the opportunities that you have, or like I'm giving my child to succeed.
Mhm.
Sure, they might have professional speed, but there's a lot more than just that racing that goes into that.
yeah. Nobody knows that, that North Florida race. Nobody knows what I did Saturday before the race. I mean, the dude on the two-stroke that was right behind me could have been fully rested, fully recovered, ready to go for that race day. And I had a hard training day Saturday. Nobody knows, that I came in and I'm tired and I'm just like kind of worn out from the week or whatever. I wasn't, but whatever it may have been. Nobody knows that. All they see is where you come across that checkered flag.
Yep, that's all
That's
matters.
it. Yep. They don't see any of the behind the scenes at all.
And the fact that you understand that, because Coach Rob is massive about periodization
Yep.
and having you ready for certain times.
I know.
And he'll be the first to tell you, I don't care if you race good right now.
Yeah.
Because we're working on this.
Yeah.
I need you ready here. He needs you ready in January. If you go out right now and you're like, hey, I want you to stand up the whole track, and that means you finish third, guess what? You're probably not going to win. But you're working on XYZ.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so fired up today to get back training, but I have one more week, like you said, periodization, to just kind of like take it a little easy.
Yeah.
I want to go full at it. But yeah, I'll text him bummed that I didn't win or something. Like, honestly, he doesn't even respond to that because he doesn't care.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to
No.
him. Like,
Big picture.
yeah, it's all big picture.
Yeah.
So,
that's awesome. But yeah, awesome, and congratulations. There are guys that don't want to be pro that are good,
yeah.
and there are guys that are really good that can't be pro.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's guys that just, that's their home base, and boy, they can rip.
Yep.
Southwick does it every year.
Yeah.
There are guys that don't
Candy.
race.
Yeah.
Dude, 2 top 10. Oh, come on. Like, that's not, shouldn't even be possible.
Mhm.
But that's his base.
Yep.
He lives there.
Yeah.
Bubba kept telling us that.
Yeah.
I guess we can't call him Bubba anymore, James.
Nah,
Yeah.
I disagree.
He was Bubba. He was Bubba.
He was
still
Bubba
Bubba.
when I was growing up.
So,
But,
yeah, we'll do it again.
Yeah.
We'll do a recap and
Like I said, I could just
See where it
keep
goes.
going. I can just keep
I
talking.
know.
Gotta just end it.
That's it gets to the point where we got to end it. So thank you for being on here today. Like I said, we'll do a recap here, maybe before Supercross even.
Yeah.
See
Let's
what
do it.
see what it's going to look
we'll
like.
we'll see how the coach Robert training's going.
Sounds good.
And for Derac Schaefer, for Rylan Munson, I'm Trey Heath. Thank you for the conference space. It was a beautiful drive up. It's a wonderful place to live. Congratulations on all the success and the future success. And this is episode 20 of the Beyond the Curve, the MX podcast, which I don't even think I introduced that at the beginning.
That's all right.
But we want to thank you all, and thank you, Rylan, for joining us. And Derac, take us home.
It's been a great one. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you, Rylan. Thank you, Trey. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
See ya.